Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pod Nuts Pro. I am your host, Marvin B., and yes, it is after dark, and I am joined by our good friend, Mr. Matt Rainey. Matt, how are you, sir?
I am doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Oh, fantastic again. All right.
Yep. It's had a very productive couple of weeks, had a couple of big checks come in, and business is good.
That's good. I had a few weeks off. So,
A few weeks.
yeah. I know last time we talked, I just went to Disney World for a week.
Yes, you did.
That's not vacation. That's a trip. So,
Excuse me, Disney's not vacation?
no, it's a trip. It's a trip. Because you go from 6 a.m. till 11 p.m. for a week. So, I took another 2 weeks off. I just came back last week.
Wow. And what'd you do this time?
So a week at the beach, and then just a week at my house doing chores and things that I never have time to do when I'm at work all the time.
Was it a honey-do list?
No, it's things that I needed to do, not that she wanted me to do.
Oh, okay.
Plus, I just wanted to take 2 weeks off. I like taking 2 weeks, because you take a week, you can't really decompress. It takes that second week to really decompress.
I don't know about you, but I can decompress in one day.
I like to take the 2 weeks. 2 weeks works good.
I have, so our weekends, our vacations are a travel day, a decompression day, a fun day, a ready to travel day, and then a travel day. So 5 days is my max.
Yeah, that wouldn't even count as a trip for me. No, that's not even a trip. Not even a trip.
Why even go? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically.
It depends on where you go.
I guess. But to go somewhere for a day.
Well, no, it's 3 days.
Oh, decompress.
Yeah, so you decompress, you're there. For instance, my wife likes to sit on the beach. And that could be a whole day for her. I can't sit on the beach for a day. So I get to rest. So I can either stay in the hotel, I can watch TV, I can lounge, I can go meet a friend, and then I come and spend sunset with her on the beach. And then the next day, we can get in the car, go see things, do events, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, my wife likes to sit on the beach every day for a week.
Mm. See, we can do that here.
Yeah, I can't do that where I am. She would actually choose to do 2 weeks, which we'll probably do next summer, but it'll be in Grand Cayman or Hawaii.
Next year?
Yes. I'm hoping Grand Cayman. I love Grand Cayman.
When will you know?
So, have you heard about the proposed tourism bill that I heard floating around a few weeks ago?
I don't pay attention to that anymore.
I don't either, and I don't know how true it is, but I saw that there was some bill floating around that they were trying to promote tourism for next year. And any kind of tourism you went on, travel, anything related to travel. So if I went to, and I'm guessing it's only for travel inside the U.S. since they're promoting U.S. economy and tourism.
Hey, they would be promoting it for people to come to America, right?
Oh no, just to travel for you to spend money. And
so it's an airline thing, just travel on a plane.
Well, no, this is the government doing it. That the government would reimburse up to $4,000, up to 50% of your travel expenses. That's hotel, food, everything related to travel and tourism. So if you spend $8,000, they pay you back for up to $4,000. So if that happens, I'll probably go to Hawaii.
Okay, that just seems so retarded.
Well, you can say that to everything that's been happening the past few
Well, I
months.
can't say it to everything, but you can
Most,
say it to
a
most.
lot of it. So if that is true and if it passes, I don't think a trip to Grand Cayman would qualify, but I think a trip to Hawaii would. So it really depends on what happens.
So here's what it is. A new GOP bill would give each taxpayer $4,000 to take a vacation anywhere in the U.S. through the end of 2021.
Yeah, that's what I saw. So if that passes and it's true, I'll do 2 weeks in Hawaii. If it doesn't pass, I'll go to Grand Cayman, which is my original plan anyway. So, but 2 weeks in Hawaii is not as relaxing as 2 weeks in Grand Cayman, because in Hawaii there's things to do. I lived there for 3 years.
Right.
There's things I want to do again. I'm not going to be sitting on the beach every day. In Grand Cayman, you'd sit on the beach, maybe go snorkeling, maybe go hang out with the stingrays. But Hawaii is going to be more going than Grand Cayman.
All right. Well, I won't be doing either of those, so enjoy yourself.
Well, you got to take advantage of that. If they pass that, you got to take advantage of it.
No.
You are going to travel because you have to have your made up. Since you missed the family reunion, that's got to be replanned.
Okay, but that's true. Oh, you know what? That's a good point. I can get the government to give me a $4,000 tax credit for my reunion.
But the benefit of that is you don't have to have it in Louisiana, because if other people travel as well, they can get reimbursed too.
You don't know my family. That's too much work. That's too much work, and I'm not playing travel coordinator for all of them.
You just tell them to get there.
No.
So we'll see. I do like my 2 weeks. I definitely take 1 2-week vacation, and then usually another 1 week, and then some time here and time there.
Okay.
Over the year. Benefit of not being a solo tech.
Oh, ouch. Ouch.
I know.
That hurts, man.
It does hurt, but it's the truth, because you know what? For those 2 weeks, for the most part, I didn't even watch TV. I didn't get online. I didn't do anything. Nothing tech related. Nothing.
I can do that if I want.
Don't think your clients would be happy about that.
Sure. You tell them ahead of time. You plan everything ahead of time. I used to do that when I would take a week off. I would tell them, look, I'm gone. I have an emergency contact. Here's the number if you need it. Just know that there's going to be a big bill waiting for you. So if it can wait, let it wait.
That's good.
So, yeah, you just got to train them.
It's like training monkeys sometimes. Some monkeys listen, some monkeys don't.
And
then the first day you're gone on a week vacation, Microsoft screws up and crashes Outlook for everybody.
Yes, of course.
So that was fun today, right?
I had to work on that. I had a customer who was in Texas that I was working on remotely, did not know that the issue was going on. And as soon as I get it connected, she's like, oh, by the way, my Outlook hasn't worked this morning.
And did you know what the problem was? This was the first ticket you got like this?
That was the first one I got like it. So okay. I found out in the course of doing that, because while I was on the remote session, I received an email from AppRiver, because I'm on their status reports, and they actually reported the error to all the AppRiver clients. And then, of course, I did more research and saw that it was the Microsoft update. So then, I'm searching, her computer to find out what updates were installed. And of course, on her computer, nothing had been installed. The last update was from a week ago. So we're running through all these other things. But Miraculously, she was running both Office 365 and Office 2016 Home and Business. So we uninstalled the Home and Business, just did a repair on the 365, and it worked.
What time was that it worked?
So my time would have been, as I go into my call history, because I am at the office, it was 12. Actually, I got on the phone with her at 1:26. So between 1:26 and 3:26 p.m. Eastern time.
So that might have been around the time where they started rolling the fix out.
Okay.
Because so what happens for me, I get one ticket that's happening. Okay. And then 30 seconds later, another ticket, same thing. I'm like, okay, something's going on. That's not a coincidence.
Right.
So I go search the forums and go look on admin portal, and I see it right away. Service degradation. I'm like, okay, they're working on it. So here's the thing. You have a few ways to handle this, right? And I'm curious, it sounds like you did a bunch of stuff. You want to know my way to handle this?
It's been reported that they're working on it. So I'll let you know when they send me an update. Is that what you do?
Close. I don't do the second part.
You don't let them know?
No. Because don't forget, I'm not going to call back 3,000 people. Okay.
You know what's funny, though, is out of all my clients, and I've got, I mean, only the one had that issue. Nobody else reported it unless
they didn't report it.
They didn't report it.
Because I talked to quite a few people, they called in for something else, like their printer or whatever. And then they say, oh, and by the way, Outlook keeps closing. So I talked to quite a few people. So I had a standard response. It's a known issue. They're working on it. You can use your mobile device or, the portal. I gave them the link.
Right.
You can do all these. They're working on it. They have no estimate. I gave them whatever information I had. Either they were investigating it, as the early notice said, or they were identified a fix and rolling out. So I had copied and pasted so many times.
Right.
But yeah, and I was on the phone with somebody for something else, and he mentioned it. And that's about that same time you just gave me. He said, oh, my Outlook started working again. Great. So, and then I go look in the portal, and it said they were rolling out the fix, but it could take a few hours for it to reach everybody. So I didn't do any of that. I'm like, look, they're working on it. I'm not, because we had so many calls with this. There's no way I can get to them all. I said, if they identify some step that I have to do, then we'll start doing it. But I'm not doing that.
It was odd because I do remember when I was back on the Facebook later, I saw, one of the groups. I mean, there was a couple hundred messages in there, and people were going berserk. And I'm like, folks, just tell your customers it's an issue. They can get their mail on the phone or their tablet or the web. I mean, it was frustrating, yes. And unless you've got a line of business application that integrates with Outlook that you have to have the desktop version, I guess, that would be the only real major issue if you could respond to email in any other way. But it was funny because like I said, I didn't even know there was an issue until I went to go work on this one person's computer. And the only reason I was working on it is because we did a migration of their email from some unknown mail client and GoDaddy to Network Solutions and Office 365.
Yeah. So I thought it was, so I opened Facebook because I want to go to one of the groups to see what they're saying. I've already seen what the issue is, but I'm wondering if there was some fix that somebody found.
Right.
So I get on Facebook and it's just post after post after post. Has anyone seen this? The next post, has anyone seen this? Like, don't y'all know how to look and see what's already posted? Because there was so many posts. Has anyone seen this? Has anyone seen this?
Right. And I notice this all the time where somebody will post hey, identified this issue. And then like 5 minutes later, was there a fix for it? Or 10 minutes later, somebody else is posting, and you're right, there's 100 people posting, have you seen this issue? And I get it. People are on Facebook all day long, but I got my notification from App River.
Yeah, and I got it through. I would have got it through email from 365 had I turned on messages, but I turn off all those messages. I don't want to see them. So, but I go look in the portal.
Yeah,
and
if
I
you look
go
in the
at
portal.
message. Yeah, I go look into service health. So, but if I didn't turn off all the messaging, I would have got an email. But
Right. Actually,
I just go look in the portal.
yeah, I group those together. Those are in a folder waiting for me to look at. I just assume that they're in there because once I got the ones from App River, and anytime there's an issue, there's always those status pages. It's funny. I go to the status pages first. I don't go to Facebook first.
Yeah, I went to the status page first. I went to Facebook to see if somebody identified any kind of quick fix, and there was some people that had fixes,
There
but
were about 3 or 4. Yes,
I tried it on one person just to test, and it didn't work for me.
Right.
So I was like, that's the extent of my troubleshooting. I'm letting Microsoft do it. So
yeah.
But I didn't waste much time with it. I phrase my thing and copy paste, sends in.
Yeah, I do what you do, where I've had the one time where there was an issue for almost a day, and all I did was forward, copy and pasted sections of the email to me. And usually it's the main contact for the firm or client. And I just forward to them, and they just love the fact that I'm staying on top of it.
Yeah, a lot of my clients don't communicate well. So if I email the main contact, the only person who might know is the main contact if they bother to read my mail.
Do your end users at those clients call you directly, or do they have to go through the main contact?
So they're supposed to go to the main contact, but they don't. I mean, some do. Some go to the main contact, and some don't. And you tell them, hey, don't forget the main contact knew about this. Oh, I just thought it'd be easier to email you. Yes, that's what all 100 of you over there say too. So.
And you know that this is a billable call.
Well, if I just copy and paste my response, because they don't call, a lot of them emailed.
Right.
Now, if they call, I just tell my receptionist, tell them it's a known issue. I said, tell them this. So when they call, don't even make a ticket, just tell them this. Either tell them there's no fix, tell them just to use this. So she took care of the ones on the phone calls, and I just standard response by email to people who sent in an email for a ticket.
All right. So that was a fun day for you. So listen, we haven't spoken since before the COVID, before Rona. So my first question to you is, are you able to tell us where you traveled to on a vacation when most of the country is still in some sort of quarantine?
Orange Beach, Alabama.
Okay. Probably no masks anywhere in sight there, are there?
On the beach, no. We went on the shopping day where the girls like to go shopping. Some stores made you wear a mask. Normally, I just sit in the car. I don't even go in the shops. So,
for how long?
Oh, on shopping day, I sit in the car almost the whole day.
Get out.
I drive them around to where they want to go, and I sit in the car. I listen to podcasts that day.
Do you listen to any good ones? Because I know you don't listen to this one.
I do listen to this one. I do. I did listen to some. You know what? I did listen to some, and I know for a fact I listened to Couples Night.
Oh.
I forget which ones. I know I listened to some, but okay. I did. On one of those, you talked about Bradley Gross, and then I found his, and I downloaded and listened to all of his.
Oh, okay.
in the car that day. But yeah, so but I don't listen to a lot of tech podcasts. I listen to a couple of tech podcasts. I did listen to some of yours and Bradley Gross.
All right. What'd you think of his?
Bradley Gross, his stuff is
The
his stuff is
technology
awesome.
Bradcast.
Yeah, I like that. His stuff is awesome. I definitely would recommend people listening to that.
All right.
So yeah, the whole day is in the car. The only thing different over there, you couldn't eat. We don't eat out at the beach. We usually cook, but on the way up there and the way back, a lot of you had to eat outside. So sometimes we had to eat outside or even in the car because if you're driving through at Chick-fil-A or Cane's, those two places are unbelievably long lines. But you got to eat in the car. So that's the only really difference that we noticed. The grocery stores were all fine. The beaches were fine. Oh, and it's pretty funny because my younger daughter had like a cold,
Yeah.
and so she was in in the store, and she sneezed.
Oh.
Boy, they looked at her like she's the Grim Reaper or something. I mean, people were looking at her funny, but you could tell she got a cold. She got
So
her nose is all red, and
so
I
lucky you guys weren't in Florida.
so and then the girl who ran the little shop was like, she goes, "Oh, do you want some Kleenex?" And she gave her a box of Kleenex. She says, "Here, you can have the whole box." So there was nobody in the store but like one or two customers. But
No.
that store didn't require a mask. And Josie said, "I promise it's just a cold." I wasn't in the store. I was in the car. She told me about it when she came back in. But yeah. But now over here in Louisiana, they passed a mask mandate a few days ago, starting Monday. Yeah, a few days ago.
So is it the one where it's inside only or even outside?
Outside, if you're not able to social distance. So if
Right.
you're outside and can social distance, you don't need one. But anywhere inside, you also have to have one.
All right. I think it's going to be bad down here in Florida because we already were back at the mandate of masks everywhere inside and outside if you didn't social distance. But now I think it's going to be even if you step outside, you need to have a mask.
But see, I don't get that. My wife asked me, I want to go walk the dog. Do I need to wear a mask? I'm like, no, you're not within 6 feet of someone from a different household. You're not even, there's no even human in sight. Why would you need a mask? So I don't get that. But
Oh, because you probably social distance up here. Down here in Florida, we can't do that for some odd reason. And, we keep breaking records. So we had another record day yesterday. We had the most deaths during Rona yesterday.
so even with the mask mandate, the Florida numbers are still going up.
So I think here's part of the problem is I think some of these are cases that are now into their second week because the mask mandate didn't really start until last week.
Okay.
So some of these could be cases that were already started. And there's a big debate about some of these numbers are being reported late. So these could be numbers from a month ago that are just getting into the system.
Do you know anyone personally that has it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
A friend of mine, him and his whole family got it. The girlfriend got it first. They lived together. Then he got it. Then the kids got it. But it's the only one I know personally that has it.
Yeah. So, and I should probably clarify, it's not a personal friend or a family member. It is, oh, speaking of, we have a story to tell. So it is a client who shouldn't be a client anymore that has it.
Okay.
So right before we went into Rona season, that client I told you about that surprised me with their compliance request that they had to have by April 1st.
Oh yeah.
It's that client who See, oh, you've missed so much. So, so last week they called me, or was it the week before? Whatever day it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago on a Monday. They called to say they have a new IT company and they needed me to give them all of the passwords and network information. And I said, sure, no problem.
So, real quick,
Uh-huh.
the broadcast talked about the
Offboarding.
Offboarding. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And so I was ready to send them everything. We have IT glue. So all I do is, the run book with all the passwords. And actually in there, I've got, any equipment information, IP address statics and router, firewall, all that stuff. And she said, well, no, they're going to call you. I said, okay. Never got a call. And I just basically started unrolling whatever stuff I had. We didn't have much because they weren't under contract. So I took off I was using my backup remote access for them and not my SolarWinds RMM. So I took everything off except for remote access to the server because I wanted to be able to, get in. If they needed anything, I can just connect. And nothing ever happened. And so this past Monday, she calls and she's telling me this is the paralegal / office manager. And she's saying, well, we're trying to install something with PDF and it keeps asking for the admin password. And I said, so what about your new IT company? Oh, well, the tech that was doing everything got coronavirus, so we wouldn't let him do anything. And I said, well, they have other techs. Did you? She goes, well, we didn't want any of them to do anything. I said, so they haven't started with you? She said, no. And I said, but they can connect remotely and help you, right? And she goes, well, I guess they can. So I said, here's your master password. Call them, give them that, and let them help you.
Yep. Yeah.
So that was that.
So, and that was how long ago that this conversation was?
That was this past Monday.
Okay. All right. So just a few days ago.
Yes.
So they still may call you again.
They still might.
They may have just used that password to install the
Which
software.
at this point, once they inform me that they have another IT company, we're done. They're not on any contract anyway.
Yeah.
And she was really trying to get me to help her. And I said, listen, you realize I'm going to have to bill you. So wouldn't you rather be billed under the new company?
Yeah. And since you're no longer a customer, you have to be a new customer and have a new rate for a new customer.
You'll be at the starting rate.
So with all this, I guess, second wave stuff, are you getting any more calls of people who want to do more remote, or they forgot how to work remote because maybe they were remote, they went back to the office, and now they forgot how to remote in?
I had one call Monday morning where somebody was working from home and couldn't get in. But by the time I got ready to call them back, they had already sent another message and said, oh, I figured it out. We're good. That was just one user. But everybody else, most of my clients haven't returned full time. So most of them are still either working remotely completely or in shifts.
Okay. Yeah. See, around here, a lot of people went back to work. A lot of people, because they didn't open everything up, but people just went, because we don't hear a lot about it. And I said the first people I even knew that got it was just this past weekend.
Right.
And it's been going on since end of March. And no one I know since beginning of March had it, or even heard of. A friend of a friend, somebody at this office, nobody. So it's down here. It seems like it's not even a thing because no one knows. And I've asked other friends that I talk to every day or every week, and they've asked me the same thing. Do you know anybody that has it? And up until this weekend, I always said no. And even the people I've talked to said they don't know anybody who's had it either. So when I saw him this past weekend, we were hanging out with him Saturday night, and he asked me again, "Do you know anybody?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually, today I know somebody. It's the first day." So
It's funny because down here, I mean, so one of the things I do in the morning when I get in is I pop into the YouTube channel of my local radio show because they have crazy Florida man stuff that happens every morning. And half the chat, there's like 500 people in the chat. And I don't know, I'd say probably like half the people that are actually participating, which would be probably, I'd say between 20 and 30 people have said they either know somebody. One of them's a nurse and basically tells stories every morning. And so it's a big deal down here.
yeah, we all are setting records,
We are setting records.
and y'all were not letting people from Louisiana go to your state in like what, April
We
or
weren't,
May or
we weren't letting anybody in.
I'm like, you know what, y'all can't come to Louisiana now. How about that? We need to put up a checkpoint. Say
So
no, no, no,
somebody,
no. Turn it around.
actually somebody sent me a story of a Florida couple in Canada that didn't self quarantine for the 14 days. And I think they're getting fined. I was going to say deported, but that's probably not right. But it was an elderly couple. It was like 68 and 70. And I said, look, they're old. They probably forgot.
Yeah, that's what they can say. So they went to Canada,
Yes.
and when you get there, you're supposed to quarantine for 14 days.
Yep.
Kind of like Hawaii, because Hawaii, if you go there, you're supposed to quarantine for 14 days. What kind of vacation are you going on if you can afford to quarantine for 14 days and then do stuff? That's the vacation I want to go on, where I can afford to spend 2 weeks just doing nothing and then take a vacation.
Right. You hear
And
that?
they extended their quarantine for visitors till September.
September.
Yeah, Hawaii did.
Let's see. So it says this post appears to relate to a province territory in Canada. Oh, so a couple from Florida has been charged in Northern Ontario after failing to self-isolate for the mandatory 14 days upon entering Canada.
Wow.
So
What did they?
they went through the border on July 3rd. 6 days later, North Bay, OPP's North Bay, so that must be where they're at, received a call from the Public Health Agency of Canada, which requested that the officers complete a compliance check under the country's Quarantine Act. And as a result of the investigation, officers discovered that the couple wasn't compliant with a mandatory self-isolation order. A 68-year-old and a 70-year-old from Florida were subsequently charged with failing to comply with an order and fined $1,000. They were also each issued a provincial offense notice, which I don't know what that means. It just reminds me of some British, you offend me, sir. Here's your notice.
Yes, it's an official. They got to wear it around their neck, probably. Something.
You are an offense.
Wow. I just wonder how long all this stuff's going to last.
As long as we have stupid people in the world.
So forever?
No, it shouldn't be too much longer.
So, yeah. So were you going to go to the
TechCon Unplugged?
Yeah, is that what they call it? Okay. Were you going to go this year?
I had my, it reminds me, I got to cancel my room. So yes, I booked a room and I was just waiting to figure out flight, but I had not purchased my ticket.
Okay. Yeah, see, I was going to go, but I knew that it was going to be canceled, so I didn't bother.
I suspected, but I think Jeff and Paco were trying to hold out as long as they could, because my thought should have, listen, and who am I, right? My thought was, look, just cancel it. Everybody's freaking out as it is. This was actually, I think May is when I was thinking things probably will get canceled for the rest of the year. At that point, that's kind of where my thoughts were.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be canceled, so I didn't bother. I was going to go. I'm still disappointed that it's always in September now, but I like it more. I like it more in August.
But they did find you a new donut place.
I saw that. I will be there. But now that means I have to go to the new place and the other one, because the other one was really good. So now I got to get donuts twice.
Did you talk to them or send them a message and find out how far away it was from the hotel?
No, but the other place was pretty far.
It was, it was an Uber ride, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a Dubinsky ride.
A Dubinsky ride. It was a doobie ride, not an Uber ride.
But actually, between John and Paco, they were kind enough to drive us over there. So they brought a group of us over there.
All right.
But had they not done that, I would have Ubered, because to me it's just mandatory. I wasn't going to ask them to bring me, and I didn't ask. They offered, because I don't like to impose on people. I just would have Ubered.
All right.
But once word got out there was a donut run, it just.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Just like in Chicago, we went to Fire Cakes, and before I knew it, there was like, how many people? Did you go to Fire Cakes?
I think I had a previously scheduled
we're there.
adventure.
There was quite a few people that showed up, which is good. I'm glad people came. I like that, and they got to experience good donuts, which for me is highlight of any trip.
Big deal. Big deal.
I like my donuts and my bourbon.
Better have my donuts. Planes, trains, automobiles.
So, as far as tech work, anything interesting going
on? So for a long time, everything was status quo, just doing the regular stuff. I did just finish a Windows 10 upgrade this past weekend. We upgraded 16 computers. 5 of them were straight upgrades to Windows 10. 11 of them were Windows computer replacements. So 11 new computers and file and settings transfers. Had my nephew help me for the first time, so that was good to get him some experience. I have another proposal that got partially approved this morning. That will be, let's see, I think it's 17 out of 24 replacements and 2 straight upgrades. And the doctor is questioning the amount it will cost to actually do the setup.
Is this a flat rate thing, or you give them an estimate?
So I give them an estimate, but because it's a project and they are under management, I give them basically a project cost. So what it is, and they don't listen. So it's $395 per station. And then I give them a 30% discount.
$395?
Yes.
Per workstation. And that covers setup for that computer.
Yes, that covers everything. The prep, setup, installation, file transfer, and aftercare.
Aftercare for how long?
Basically the Monday after a project.
Not a month later. Oh, no. I forgot. I need this installed.
No, it's that first Monday where I slot aside half the day to be available for call specifically for that reason.
Monday care.
Yes.
Yeah, see, we're really behind. I still have projects from like December or January. They're ordered servers, and we haven't had time. So right
Mm,
now, I know we've got three big email migrations. We've got three or four or five big server migrations. One new new setup. They're splitting from another company, so they got to get all their own setup, and then they got to split data off from that company and put it. It's just now one of them is interesting because they've got a server in one location, and this was their original location. So when this company first started, they had one location
right.
and they had the workstations there. Then they opened up another office an hour away. So those people, they just have a couple of workstations, but they had QuickBooks. So, okay, so you want to access QuickBooks. They didn't want a remote desktop server. They had spare computers at the original office. Fine. You'll just remote into those to run your QuickBooks. So two of them remote into computers, their own computer, basically dedicated for them. They remote into that.
Okay.
Then they wanted to move the server from the old location to the new location. So it never happened because we told them what was going to be involved. Plus, our server is really old.
Right.
So they
Would
decided,
it survive the move?
I don't even know. So then they got a new server, and that's what's been sitting in my waiting to be prepped for months and months and months. But the new server is going to the new location, so we have to put the new server in, new domain, and the people at one location have to take that old server, and there's too much data to copy over the internet. Anyway, we're going to flop. So there's two people at the original location that need QuickBooks. Well, I'm going to have to take those two computers and move them to the new location, and now they're going to remote into those computers to run QuickBooks instead of the other way around. It's the whole thing's going to be flip-flopped.
Mm.
So that's in order to coordinate that, I've got to have one person go to the original location, one to the new location, make all the changes, and then bring the server back to the new location, the old server to the new server location so I can transfer data. That's going to be a coordination
So let
thing.
me ask this, because I probably would have, and it may not be able to be done, but I would have proposed that they keep the old server at the old location, put a new server in the new location, and run DFS.
Their old server is so old, it should have been replaced 5 years ago.
And then sell them two servers.
They don't want two servers. They barely want one server. But they're very patient. They're very patient. She just emails me once in a while, hey, what's the update? And so today she emailed me, what's the update? I said, I'm hoping the first week of August. She said, okay, if anything changes, let me know. I mean, they're very nice. Nothing's down,
Right.
but they bought the server 6 months ago or more, and it's just been sitting there.
And they prepay for their equipment, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So that's just one project, but that's really, once I get it set up, it's just going to be one day. I mean, and they know they're going to have one down day. One down day to do all those changes. I'm just going to coordinate one tech here, one tech here. I'll do remote stuff. That's one. So it's a lot of projects, but some of them, if we do them right, can be done on site in one day. You know, they got a whole. Oh, one of them though is this company has 5 servers, and they want to replace them all. So that's yeah.
What kind of servers?
I mean, what are they currently running?
Yeah. I mean,
Most of them are running.
A DC, a file server, a domain, Exchange server, SQL.
Yeah, well, it's one small business, a server. So they got a small business server hosting email. So we'll do an email migration to 365. Then they got some line of business servers Three of them run different line of business apps. Um, One of them is a file server, an extra file server. Yeah. So a domain controller exchange server, another file server, and the other three are line of business application servers.
Are
And it's
you
funny because one of them, and I need to tell them when they quote this, one of them required three physical servers because we told them even back then, we said, let's just do one server and we'll just do Hyper-V servers. We don't need three physical servers.
right?
And they said, no, our software doesn't support Hyper-V. It's got to be physical servers.
Okay, because I was going to ask that.
So I need to, we're getting a quote ready for her, but I just remember that is why they have 5 servers. I need to ask them if they updated their software to be able to support Hyper-V or if I have to do separate servers again, which I don't understand. I think they said they don't support Hyper-V because they didn't understand what it was. Maybe now they understand what it is.
Is it a law firm?
No.
Okay, because
No.
I have that all the time. That we have, servers running, and they know what Hyper-V is, and they actually what they'll do is they say, you can do it, but we won't support it.
Right, and we're not going to do that, right? Because
Right.
just like this company, this line of business app is what they do. If they
Yes.
didn't have that, they'd be out of business.
Right. And so that's the same reasoning why, tons of my servers are still physical for that very reason.
Yeah, so I don't mind a physical server, but I I remember having conversations with them, and they were like, "No, we don't support that." I said, "What about don't you support? Does your software recognize that it's on a Hyper-V platform and it doesn't work?" I think they just didn't know how to do it. I'm like, "There's nothing to do. I mean, you tell me I'm going to load the OS. It's going to have a dedicated network card. I mean, you're not even going to notice. You wouldn't even know if I didn't tell you. You wouldn't know that it's a Hyper-V machine. You remote into it, you wouldn't even know." So I need to actually have them check on that because that's one thing I forgot about till just now.
I have a customer that has been wanting to upgrade for almost 2 years now. They're running a database application that is running on Visual Basic 8 or something like that. They have 2 separate companies, and the vendor wants to take their 2 companies, put them into one database, but it's going to break something, so the customer won't do it. And they've been sitting on that, and that is my last 2008 small business server that I'm waiting to get rid of.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I still have a few 2008 SBS servers because they don't, I don't think they want to upgrade. They just don't know if they're going to be in business long enough to upgrade. But when they call with problems and like, how can we fix this? I'm like, with a new server.
New server. Yep.
I don't understand what you want me to do. I mean, this server is a piece of junk. Now, there's one client that has all these servers. We've been telling them for years to upgrade, and they don't want to. Because to be honest, it's a pain, right? You've got all these specific line of business apps, and they're a pain to coordinate with all these vendors to get things working. It's working right now. They don't want to change it. I understand that, but they won't let us go virtual, and they're old servers. So it's a real pain, and it's not going to be fun. And I forgot what I was going to say. I get so I know this job is going to be terrible. I
Right.
know it's going to be terrible. And they have salesmen spread across the whole country, and they don't like change. And they have these weird little apps that they load, and I documented things about them. And they might call me once every 5 years. Oh, this thing's not working. I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, you helped me last time. Okay. Do
Who are you?
Yeah, I'm like, do you know when I helped you? So I have to go look up the old ticket, and I find it, and then I find my documentation in their client folder. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm glad and thank you, past self, for making nice notes because this is ridiculous. what you have to do to get this working. And to move that to a new server, I don't even know, because this stuff's not supported by anybody. And I tell them all the time, if you need this for business, you should be running something that's supported
Yep.
by someone, not me. I didn't write the software. I mean, I know enough to fiddle with it now to get it working if something breaks, but I'm not going to be the one moving this to a new server. It's going to be a nightmare. Even the Office 365 migrations, when I have to do one either this weekend or next weekend. We're doing a big one that's like, I don't know, a couple hundred people. Um, but when things like what happened today happen, I'm like, oh my God, we're putting them on 365 and nothing's perfect, but I'm glad we didn't put them on this last week. And then right when they get on it, there's issues.
Right. Because they would have blamed you. Outlook's not working. What'd you do?
Yeah, that's when I send them the screenshot for the admin portal. Or send them a link online saying it's a global issue. Global. It's not me. Nothing's perfect.
People have a new sense of the word global now, because now you can say, well, it's part of the global pandemic.
In this new environment, in this new world.
The new world. The new, can't even say it because I forgot I was in a promise to never say the double N.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. So do you, and it's common, I don't know if you get this a lot, but I've been having more and more people forward me their spam. I got a spam. Okay. Delete it. What do you want me to do?
Okay. So I probably get one a month, but it's usually, hey, I think this is legit, but I'm not sure. And a lot of times it is a legit email that comes from, but they've learned that if it's suspicious, not to open it. So those I still get, but real spam, I don't. The client that I have the most issues with, they have a junior on site, and junior, they forward it to junior and he takes care of it.
I get it every day and they know it's spam. FYI, I got this spam. Okay. Delete it. And I tell them, you don't need to forward your spam to me. And half the time, my spam filter catches it, and I don't even get it.
Right.
But a lot of times,
then they email you again to say, "Hey, did you get that spam I forwarded you?"
And I tell them, no, my spam filter caught it because it's spam. I tell them, don't. And sometimes if I know them well, I'll say, "Wow, now I get in your spam." I mean, don't spam me with your spam. I tell them it's not necessary to forward spam; just delete it.
Right.
I mean, I don't know why they keep doing it. I don't know what they want me to do. And they say, can you block it? I said, no, I can't block it. Because if I block this one address, they're just going to change addresses. And I don't have time to be blacklisting email addresses. I'd be doing this. I'd have to hire a whole army of people to be blacklisting individual email addresses over and over again. Now, what I have been doing in 365 is I ask people, do you get any email, legitimate email, from anything overseas? I block every country, international spam. I add every country.
I do that with email, and I do it in the firewall, where I'll do the GeoIP blocking.
Yeah.
And so I have this one law firm. Every few months, they have to email me and say, oh, we have an attorney in this country. Can you unblock it for us so they can remote in?
And I would probably then say, oh, wait. Well, I say, give me his IP. We're going to add one IP, not a whole country. I don't want to have that.
I know. I don't have time for that. So I just say, how long are they going to be there? Oh, they're just today. Okay. Then at 5 o'clock, it goes off.
Yeah.
Is that Eastern or is that their time?
It's one random time when I have time to do it after 5.
Or I say, look, when I get in tomorrow, I'm blocking it. That's how much time they have.
But the email, I've been adding to every country. But I make sure to tell them, if you are getting legitimate email from overseas, you're not going to get it probably, because I'm probably out of the country. So if I've had one company tell me, no, we have a client in France. Okay, fine.
Right.
I'll unblock that. But and the thing is, I can't unblock just the domain name, because it's a whole group of clients in emailing each other, and they
Right.
can't give me a whole list. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll have to unblock the whole country because you can't give me a list. Seems to be overkill, but whatever.
Well, the best thing is when you say, "Can I get an IP address?" What's that?
Yeah, well, I tell them, just good from their office computer, go to ipchicken.com.
Oh, but it's not the same place every day.
Oh yeah, that's what I tell them. Well, we got to do a VPN for that then.
Yep.
So, are you still using Sonic Walls?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Just installed one last month at a co-working space that was supposed to open in February. They were behind in construction, and now they're hoping to open in August. TZ600.
We're still doing WatchGuard, but I think I'm going to get a machine to run Untangle on,
Oh,
just to play with it. I don't think it'd be for any offices, but well, I guess it could be if they were too cheap to buy
okay.
a
Are
WatchGuard.
you going to get a machine that you can install it and configure it yourself, or are you going to get one of their pre-configured boxes?
So I'm gonna get it myself.
Oh, you could have done that while you were on vacation.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't be vacation. Then it'd be working. No, that Amazon sells those pretty much the exact same hardware.
Right.
So I'd rather just get the hardware myself and load it. I
All
found
right.
one for like $210. So,
So, what's making you think about getting Untangle?
well, I had a watch guard at my house, but I had to use it somewhere else, and I'm back on the AT&T router, the all-in-one thing over
Okay.
here, and I have to reboot it almost every day because it's been really driving me crazy. So I think I might get one to play with here and put that over here. But I've just been hearing people talking about it, and some things about the watch guard kind of irritate me.
Say it isn't so.
It's just very rare, and mainly I'll tell you what it is. It's when you enable certain things like application controllers. Some things don't show up in the log. So if somebody says, "I can't get to this site," so I go look in the traffic log to see what's blocking it, and sometimes it does not show up, and I'm like, "Oh," because some things don't log.
Right.
I'm like, oh, that's so annoying. So when it doesn't log, I know, okay, I'm gonna go disable application control. Does it work now? Yes. Okay, now it works. Now I gotta figure out what an application control or what ridiculous setting that's not logging is causing this. And that's the main issue, is that the stupid logging. But I just wanted something different because some clients don't want to pay that much for a watch guard. So, and they just want more basic security. They don't want the whole $1,000 a year thing. They just want something cheaper, but then to feel like they have security, which I think they'll take. That's why I want to get it. I want to get it to see what it can do and what it can't do.
All right. That's a good value. I thought about doing that, but I realized I don't have time.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it here at my house as a way to test it, because I think that'll fix my issue to get off of that route as a router, and hopefully fix my issues here and have my family get off my back about having to reboot the router every day. And of course, it has to be
Hey,
rebooted when I go to bed. That's when
did you get your free Watt box from last year?
I did not. I did not. I have a watt
Because
box.
you have your Watt box just automatically reboot. You don't have to do it yourself. Schedule it.
Well, the thing is, it still kind of works. It just doesn't work that good. So it doesn't drop completely. It's just the streaming won't start, but I'm still online.
Yeah, but just schedule a restart every 3 days or twice a week or something.
I got a watt box from CompTIA
Hmm.
a long time ago, but I did not
And
go
where's
to.
that with your flute?
It's in a drawer. It is in a drawer. It's still in the box.
It's still new in the box.
New in the box from Chicago.
2015.
Yeah, it's probably not a good model anymore. Probably still works though, right?
It should.
Yeah. I'll need
Why don't
a.
you send it to me? I'll tell you.
Maybe I will put that over here. And see, that's the kind of thing that I want to do. I just haven't had time. Haven't had time. I think they're great products. I think they definitely are useful.
Yeah.
But there was some kind of hoop you had to jump through to get the free watt box, wasn't there? It wasn't like you just say, send me a free watt box.
Well, no, you actually had to sign up to be a partner, I think was the catch,
Yeah.
which Kerry Holzman had a fit with.
I know. I know. But you know what? On some, I agree with them on some parts of that, right?
Yeah.
But I also agree with them that their distribution method is through resellers. So he can still like if I wanted to buy one, I can still buy one. I just got to go through a reseller.
Right.
Just like if I want a Ford truck, I have to go to a reseller, also known as a dealership, right? Or
Yep.
I can go buy one used, just like I could go on eBay and probably buy a used watt box too.
Right. So, yeah. And there was one part of that I thought, you know what? When they do something like that, if they're going to give something free as part of a promotional giveaway, don't make them sign up, because the whole deal is you're doing it to entice them. And then if they get it, like it, and want to sell it, then they have to be a partner. That would probably be a way to go.
Well, the one I got in Chicago, they just gave it to me. I didn't have to sign up for anything. They
Right.
just said, here's a watt box. I said, oh,
Well, that
thank
was
you.
back before with Snap AV. They were their own separate company. It was Aisle 8 was the company back
yeah.
then.
You know what I also came across in my drawer when I was my week off that I was doing errands was a open mesh access point that I never put in.
Which model?
I might have thrown it away. Oh no, here it is.
Throw it away.
It was still in the box. I threw the box away. Let's see what it is. I never put it in place.
Is that the OMP5?
But you really know model numbers. Let me get my double up glasses here. OM5P-AC.
Okay.
Which is worthless, right?
Well, I wouldn't say worthless, but
because I looked at it,
and it's not something that you're going to deploy today in any client environment.
But you have to have cloud tracks for this, right? Did they discontinue that?
So technically, no. So what they did when Datto purchased them, all of the old boxes. So if you had devices in the free CloudTracks platform, those still work.
I think I did have this in CloudTracks.
So if it's in CloudTracks and it's still there, you can activate it and it'll still be free. If it is not, you have to do all new activations on the Datto networking platform.
But I think I tried and it wouldn't let me in, or it wouldn't detect it, or it did something weird. And you know what? I spent about 10 minutes on it and I gave up.
If I remember correctly, okay, so you might be correct. It might be worthless because I don't think Datto networking supports anything other than their 40 and 60, the A40, A42, A60, A62 series.
All right, it's going in the trash right now. Oh, that was loud. Sorry. It's in the trash.
It's all right.
It's going. I looked at it, I thought, I think I hooked this up a long time ago, like just to get it in the CloudTracks.
Right.
But I couldn't get in the cloud. I think I got back in the CloudTracks, but it would never find the device. I was like, whatever. And then I gave up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I've got like 5 or 6 of those that I keep as emergencies for. I've still got maybe 3 or 4 clients that have those. So I just keep them as backups. Everybody else is getting the new stuff.
Are you still using open mesh stuff though from data, or are you using Ubiquity, or using?
So, so I purchased my first set of access points through Datto Networking. Only one is activated. Everybody else, I have put in Ruckus.
Ruckus? Okay.
And I still have the two Ubiquity Fire access points that I got. One is still in the box, new in the box. The other one is open, sitting in my server room, but it is not working. Well, it's working, but I can't go in and reconfigure it because the Unify key or the Unikey or whatever was on an old desktop that I decommissioned. And so I have to get a new key, and I
Yeah.
haven't done that.
So what is in your house, let's say, or in your office? What do you use for Wi-Fi?
I have Ruckus both at the house and here at the office.
Okay. And do you have to be a reseller to buy those?
Technically, no.
Really?
Yeah, you can go on Amazon or eBay and buy them. You can buy new. You can buy, especially the Unleashed models, and you can mesh network up to, I think it's 20-ish or something like that. But I wouldn't do 20 on an Unleashed network.
So what model number? Let's say I want to get one for my house. What would I get? What Ruckus
Your
model?
size house, the 700, probably I think it's a
Okay.
730 now.
For your size house. You're not thinking it's like 6,000 square feet, huh? Wait.
Listen, it's a Rainey house. You got 2 stories, right?
No. One story. One story.
No, what is your like 2,700 square feet or something?
No, see, that's not right. It's only like 2,500.
Probably a 730. What type of walls do you have?
What type of walls?
Yeah, do you
Drywall?
have, are they studs and drywall, or do you have
Yes.
concrete anywhere?
Studs and drywall.
Okay. So probably, well, listen, if this were a client, I'd say you probably need 2 throughout the house, but you might be able to get by with just 1.
Yeah, so the way my house is set up, if I put it right in the middle in the living room, I think it'll cover everything.
Okay.
So
a 730.
Ruckus 730?
Yep.
Why can't I find that on Amazon? Oh, there it is. No, that's not it. I see.
You're probably going to find a bunch of 720s is what you'll find.
I see a 720.
Which is 720 is what I have in my house.
Well, if it's good enough for Marvin B,
And
it's good enough for me.
It's 2,000 total square feet with cement walls.
Are these power Ethernet?
Yes.
I searched for Ruckus 730. I don't get any results. I see a 720.
Because they're probably gone. Those things go fast.
They go fast.
Yeah, they do. But the 720s are good. 720, I would.
Okay, so it's $500.
$529.
Well, this says $494.
Oh, you found a good one. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, $494.
List price $1,295.
Yes.
That's not accurate, right?
No, that's true. So technically,
it's only got 3.5 stars.
The listed reseller price for that is actually $895 is the lowest you're supposed to be able to sell it for.
So how does the Ruckus work? How do you set up and manage it?
So if you get the Unleashed model, and first of all, most of the models can be either unleashed or they can be, I forget what the other term is, but they can either be run by a controller or unleashed, which means unleashed, meaning you don't have to have a controller. You don't have to have a key. You basically connect the first access point. They would prefer that you use like a tablet or something, and It comes up with a special SSID called Configure Me or something like that. You log into that, you configure it, and the first one is the master. And then any access point that you connect to the network after that seeks out another ruckus and grabs the configuration. And that's why they're called unleashed. You don't have to have any special controllers or keys or anything like that. And if the master happens to go down, the next in line steps up and becomes the master.
Interesting. Okay, so no keys. You just got to configure it that way.
Yeah.
So, but you got to buy it as unleashed.
Yes. Or if you buy the other one, you can make it unleashed. You basically have to flash the firmware and you can go back and forth.
So why are they so expensive? They're pretty proud of their little access points, aren't they?
So Ruckus basically used to be, the Cadillac, Ferrari, Tesla of access points. They were basically to such a degree better that you could be literally at the edge of their signal strength with 1 bar and function just like you had 5 bars. Whereas other access points, and the ones that I had tested back then, were the Arubas, the Netgears, and I actually at the time did test a original Unify back then. I don't remember the model number, but literally what I would do is I would set them up here in my office, walk out of my office down to the street with my fluke and see which ones I could connect with and what signal strength I got, what speed I could get. And that's how I tested them. And this was probably 4 or 5 years ago when I finally decided on them, when I was fighting with this customer that, they had all their devices that were dropping all the time. And that's how I came to the fact that Ruckus worked every single time.
I see. And we use a lot of Ubiquity stuff.
And I think now if I put, so what is it? The Ubiquity, I don't see it. What's their latest model? I think their AC Pro.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, if you're in a small to medium-sized office, I think those perform probably as good as a Ruckus, but in a dense environment is where the Ruckus shines. So if you've got, a client where they've got to connect, 50 to 100 devices and they pound the Wi-Fi, Ruckus still beats them. But if you're dealing with an office that, 10 to 15 people get on and they're just browsing and stuff, I think all of the others. Now, the only one I haven't physically tested myself is the Cisco Meraki. But I have a client that I sub for that they have Cisco's and they are complaining about stuff all the time. And so we have somebody in the chat who said, "Man, I thought the Arachnus was expensive."
Yeah.
So I actually I think I've still got 3 of the Arachnus, the AN700s that I have 2 of those at a client. And when I have an office that's small enough where they only need 1 access point, I'm going to use the Arachnus. The Arachnus are pretty good too. I put the Arachnus, the Ubiquity, and the Arubas pretty much in that all same category. So I have the Ruckus as my number 1, all of those number 2. The Open Mesh / Datto is probably in that second group, but right at the bottom of that second group. So if we had to, do them in a tier, that's how I would do it.
So if you want to manage the Ruckus Wi-Fi access point from your office and it has a client's office, what do you do?
So right now, for most of them, because I've got a VPN connection, I just connect through the VPN to the client, or because I am now putting in my Domotz boxes, I can manage them through the Domotz dashboard. So in my Domotz dashboard, it's kind of like SolarWinds RMM, where I can see all the devices. And there is a way that you go to the device and there's a connect option. that will tunnel through to the device without me having to connect to their VPN. So that's what I do.
Domo's, I know I saw a Domo's podcast in the feed. I did not listen to that one yet.
It's all right.
So I don't know what Domo's is.
All right.
Sounds like donuts. Domo's donuts.
And so that's what I do, but they do have Ruckus Cloud now. So there is a way that you can manage all of your Ruckus devices in a cloud, but I think it gets quite expensive.
Okay. So otherwise you just connect to their network. Even if you didn't have Domos, you would connect to their network and just log into the access point.
Right.
By an IP address or reservation. What do you do for those?
I do what I do. I just do a DHCP reservation.
Okay.
But it's not. You're right. So the one thing is with the data networking, you still have the app that you can see on your phone or tablet or your desktop, and you can actually manage the devices through the app. Ruckus, I don't think they're quite there with the app yet. So why don't we do this? Why don't we take a break, because I think my air just went off at the office and I want to go fix that. I want to take a break. I just opened up my adult beverage. So we have two options. We can either take a quick break and come back and stay live, or we can go ahead and end the live and you and I can chat and we can turn that into a whole nother episode.
Up to you. Sure show.
I don't know who's in the chat here. Keith, Arachnus equals Oversee Pro. Yes. So the Arachnus Wi-Fi access points you can manage through their app through the Oversee.
Overseer. That sounds like
it's an ominous Big Brother type thing.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yes. Yep. And I actually.
You just opened your beverage. I already had like three of these.
I opened it like 5 minutes ago, and I'm down to the neck.
Okay.
So I had tea first. I don't know if you heard me smacking away, but I had my tea. So I have my beer.
All right. I've been drinking bourbon the whole time, and you're drinking tea. You're drinking tea and one sip of salmon.
And I have my. Listen, it's been a long day for me, and I have another long day tomorrow. So I had stuff I had to get up and do early. I recorded a podcast this afternoon.
I saw that. I did watch the first part of that one. I did watch that. I did not watch part two.
Okay, well, those were the part two was done yesterday. This is another one. I did a podcast with Solar Winds today. That's going to be released tomorrow. Okay. And then I have stuff tomorrow. Oh, I've got a Comcast migration, and I have a friends and family diversity discussion tomorrow night.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, so quick break, because I'm going to go do something real quick too.
Yep, quick break. So here's what we'll do. We will stay live. I will throw up. I can't do music because we're not licensed for music. But I will put up a little pic here. Actually, you know what? I do have some music. Give me just a second. It's not the real music, but it's karaoke version that I am licensed for. So let me put this up, and I'll put us back in the green room and share my screen. And we will play music as soon as I can get all this squared away. And yes, folks, you are watching Podnuts Pro Live. And this is what happens when you don't have a producer to do things for you. Can I do that? View, full screen. Here we go. Share. Share. Oh, stop being full screen. Or I shared the wrong one. All right, Matt, we'll be right back.
Okay. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
And we're back. Did you go and refresh your beverage there?
I did, but I haven't. I have a refreshment within arm's reach here.
You have a stock supply, don't you?
I do. I do.
So what I also did is I went and got, this is my Domos box. So that is what it looks like. Plugs into the network. It's got a little power cord over here. And of course, the MB Systems logo. And this could be a poor man's RMM. But basically, it goes out and finds all the devices on the network, servers, desktops, printers, network devices, and allows you to, if you've, configured remote access to the desktops through RDP, you can connect through RDP without configuring your firewall. You can connect to printers, all sorts of stuff.
So you put that at your client's office.
Yes.
So each client gets a different one.
Yes.
And you access each one separately, or they're all in one portal that you log into?
So they're all in one portal.
Okay, so you go to a central portal and you can see all your Domos boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So you click on one, and then you see the discovered devices or network of that device.
Yep. Actually, why don't we do this? We're going to do an impromptu demo. We pull up and I don't have all of them deployed because COVID-19.
And is this a fee? Is this a monthly fee per box, or you?
It is. It's $19 per box per month. So I know some people are thinking, oh, I don't want to spend that. But for what it can do, it actually does pretty good.
And anyone can buy it, or do you have to sign up and be a partner?
Anybody can buy. Anybody can sign up, which was the entire reason that I wanted my logo on it, because I didn't want a customer to think, oh, well, I'll just go get this myself and do it, which they can probably figure out anyway. But I don't even tell them what the name of it is, even though it is on the bottom. So if they are, inclined to,
you need to put a sticker over that.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet. But let me share my screen here that I've got up, and I can show you the ones that I have deployed. So here we go. So these are the ones I've deployed so far. So I've got it in 2, 4, 6, 7 clients, plus I have one at my office that I got before I put the logo on it. So I keep that here, and that's going to serve as kind of my emergency one if I need to go somewhere. And whenever I'm setting up new stations here for clients, I will test things. Like one of the things that I test is Wake on LAN, because it used to be, that's actually not a good client, that I had another program. I still have the program called Hyena System Administrator, where I would have to go in and create a text file with all the station names, their MAC addresses, and all of that. And if I needed to turn a station on, I had to make sure that they were in that list. But so as you can see, the first screen is, here's all my agents that are deployed. They give you a map of the state so I can see where I've got them. So I've got 2 in Port St. Lucie, and it actually, puts in the street address. And for instance,
you put that address in, or it pulls it up?
You put it in when you sign it up. It asks you where it is, so you just put the address in, and boom, it throws up on the mat.
So if they move it, it wouldn't update.
Correct.
Okay.
Actually, it might update on the map, but it wouldn't update in the application because it goes by the address. So I'm not sure. I haven't moved one. But here's the thing. This is the good thing. So for instance, this client. So the first thing you have is the device list, and it tells you what devices are online versus offline.
And there's nothing you did. You just put it in place, and it scans the network.
And it starts scanning and doing this. Now, the only thing you have to do is obviously it will sometimes not identify devices correctly. For instance, here's a machine down here where it knows that it's a Hewlett-Packard device, but it just gives the MAC address. And if you know it's a workstation, you may have to name it, but it's probably 70 to 80% accurate. So there's only a few things that I have to go in and change.
So I'm curious, what would cause it not to detect it correctly?
I'm not sure. That's on my list of questions to ask them when I have them back for podcast number 2. Now, in this customer, this is one where I just did a major upgrade. So all these stations that are offline are actually computers that are not at their office anymore. So it tells me when it went offline. So it gives a status update. And if you've got devices that are online, it tells you how long they were online. And if a device is rebooted, which in this case, here's one. So this device, and I don't know which one it is, this device has rebooted or power cycled twice in the last 24 hours. So if you've got a customer that's complaining about, something's always happening, my station keeps shutting down or whatever, you can actually go in and check. And it says, here's what the status change was. And if there's actually events, it'll tell you up here what the event was. So I use this mainly for, I guess, for servers. I don't think I have any events. Yeah, this one doesn't. But here's that panel where I told you where you can go in and connect. And so this device, I have remote desktop set up. It's not configured in the firewall. So this is actually their server. So I can RDP directly to the server if I didn't want to use my SolarWinds panel to do it.
Yeah, well, kind of like SolarWinds, because SolarWinds you can tell to connect over remote desktop, and it actually goes through them.
Right. But if for some reason SolarWinds was down and I wanted to connect, I could just use this as a backup.
Is there multi-factor authentication to log into your portal.domoids.com?
Yes.
Okay.
And this probably doesn't work. I think this is a weird server. You can set up alerts, which I know you don't like.
I don't like alerts.
You can either turn it to no or have a standard or custom. And basically for instance, is this server, I want to know when it goes up, when it goes down, if the IP changes, which, it shouldn't, but. And then there's a history and then eyes. Eyes is actually good for things like switches. So I've got let me see if I can put this. Oh, I didn't group them. So you can group them by type, category. So for instance, all these are desktops. Here's my Domots box, my firewall, printer, fax. So for instance, this switch, these switches I have, so I can go in and see those devices. So again, the firewall. So the only difference, so this Sonic wall, since I put this Domos device in, this keeps a list. And the reason it says IP change is because if I connect to one of their servers through my VPN, it logs it as an IP address change because it realizes it's something new connected to the firewall. So anytime somebody connects, here are the IP addresses that are connecting to the firewall. So that's, I don't know if anybody really likes that or not, but it's good. Switches, the Netgears aren't good. Let me find a client that's got the Snap AV Arachnus switches because I do like those. So for instance, let's go to this office here. And if I pull up their switch, so they've got a 48 pits. Oh, I have to unlock it. So I may not have. See if I change the password on this. And this is great for live podcasting.
People should go watch the video if they want to see it.
Yeah. And I've got, there's videos on it. Yeah. So this one I probably didn't unlock. There's some that are already unlocked.
And so are these people in your dashboard? Are they in your SolarWinds dashboard?
Yes, they are.
So you have them in here as a way. What is the main reason you put them in here in addition to your SolarWinds?
So the biggest reason that I did was that the alerting was faster. So, in SolarWinds, sometimes when you have a server that goes offline, you may not know for 15, 20 minutes. This is literally, I think 2 minutes is the latest. There are times where it goes down and I know right away. So that was one reason. The other reason is the Wake on LAN that when I got my device to evaluate it, and I realized that I can do wake on LAN without having to, create stuff. These switches, so I don't have anybody set up with an unlocked device. The switch, so for instance, when I needed to do some network stuff, I would have to go on site with my Fluke, plug it into the network, and determine a lot of the stuff going on. Whereas with this, these are probably, I can probably unlock these faster. I can actually have these tell me what device is on which switch port so that I don't have to go on site. And with the Arachnid switches that I have, if you've got PoE devices, you can power cycle directly from here. There's a lot of other stuff that you can do. You can do the, so for my Ruckus access points, it has stuff that I can go in and do. There is the eyes feature. It'll go in and tell you like what clients are connected, what your signal strength is. There's, I don't want to go in and find out what my client stuff is. I can't, I guess I could. I can go into my IT glue. This I don't have 2FA because of the, I whitelisted my IP. Which, how do you feel about the fact that we're going to be changing all the tech words and not using whitelist and blacklist and master and slave? And
are we actually changing those things?
I don't know. It'd be hard to.
So do you have to buy that box separately, or is it included in the $19 a month?
You do buy the box separately.
So the box is what, $100?
Yes.
Okay. And you buy it from Domotes, or you buy it on Amazon?
You can actually buy it on Amazon.
I see it on Amazon.
Yep.
Okay, so you buy that box. Now, what if you bought the box without the service? Can you do that?
It doesn't do anything. You have to activate the service. Nice try.
I have lots of boxes that don't do anything.
Yeah, you just found one you just threw out because you didn't activate it.
Okay, good. But can you buy it from Domotes directly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, to get the logo, you have to buy it from Domotes.
They put the logo on it for you?
Yes.
Well, you could just make a sticker and put it on there too, right?
Well, it's cheaper to do the sticker because I had to pay to put the logo on.
I mean, I have stickers already.
Yeah. So here we go. So I'm into this switch right here. It's a PoE switch. And so I can go in and see the ports. And in this particular case, I don't think I've got everything set up, but I can see, the traffic over the switch. I can turn on and off the power from here. All these, this is a toggle switch for if I just want to say I don't want to have power to that port, I can turn it off from here. So it's not truly a magic box, but it just makes life easier for some of these things that you want to do.
I see. Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm going to go back and listen. I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm going to go listen to the Domos podcast she did.
Mm-hmm.
But see, the thing is, I prefer something like this because when you listen to a salesperson or even see a demo, it's highly controlled and scripted.
Right.
I like to see the real world implementation.
And so you saw just here, I connected to this switch at this client site from the Domos dashboard. I didn't have to VPN in. I didn't have to do anything special. I'm here. So I want to go in and start playing around with stuff.
Now, of course, people listening should understand this is a managed switch.
Yes.
Right. Not just any
Yeah.
plain
Your
switch.
regular unmanaged switches will not do this. Now, smart switches that will allow you to connect will do that.
If it was just a plain unmanaged switch, it would still show up with a device and an IP address
Correct.
as a network scan, but you couldn't do anything with it.
Right. So these at this client, these are the PoE switches. These are the regular switches. And I probably do have, yeah, here's a Netgear. This is, so they have an area where they've got devices that get onto the network, but they're not desktops or anything like that. So we put just a little Netgear switch in here. And as you can see, I can't do the same thing with the interfaces from here. Now, this is a, what is it? A ProSafe switch. So I could connect to this, but this switch doesn't have any managed features on it. So it means nothing, but at least I know it's there.
So you like this for the wake on LAN and faster alerting.
Faster alerting. And, you know, there's something too. So, you know, SolarWinds has the networks tab that you can actually create networks, and it will go out and tell you what other devices are on the network. I don't know if, have you used that feature in SolarWinds?
No.
Okay. So I did, and it's great, you know, when it tells you the number of devices, total number of devices on the network. Well, this does the same thing, but it allows you to visualize them and categorize them in a completely different manner. The SolarWinds network feature, it's just a list, and it doesn't do discovery as well. And this here, oh, here's a good thing. This client also has cameras. So I can go into these cameras, and there's, here we go. This is, so this camera, it tells me which switch it's on. This one has multiple devices going through port 23 on that switch. Here's the IP address. And I don't think I have, but if I wanted to go in and do something with this camera, which I don't, you can connect to the camera, and it has features that you can actually manage cameras, manage other devices. There's a ton of other devices that this will manage for you with built-in features, but I just haven't utilized them yet. So there's going to be a lot of other applications for this Domotz box that they're adding to all the time. So there's my, oh, that's the DVR for the cameras. So.
Okay.
So it's just nice. It's, you know, it's got some other stuff. It's got this network security feature in here, which I think on this client, I actually did have 2 problems. I don't think I've, here we go, last check. So this will check and tell me if, so yeah, this port, there was traffic on 80 and 43 that I actually marked safe because I knew that they were pounding whatever. So there's some security implications that this will eventually be able to do more for. So if you wanted to say, monitor a port on the switch and see if there's traffic on it, and there shouldn't be, you can monitor that. You can do this VPN on demand, which I haven't looked at. This, I thought this would be nice where you can just print out a topology map. So for your customer, hey, I want to see my network. Well, here you go. Print this out. And, you know, here's switches, here's access points, 9 devices connected to that one. Here's a access point, 8 devices connected to that one. So I thought I would do more with this. I haven't yet, but again, things down the road that I could look at.
Interesting.
Network. So it does the same thing as the Oversee Pro that Keith mentioned earlier in the chat. It does a periodic network speed test. So it tells me they've got 115 down, 24 up. It's a Comcast connection. So, and it sends me alerts if I can set up thresholds.
I don't want alerts. I don't want them faster.
Yeah. So, yeah. And, another thing too is, when you have a device go offline, I can just delete them. But if I know, for instance,
Will they delete themselves after a while, or they will
no,
always stay in
they
there?
will stay there until you delete them.
Okay.
So, for instance, I use it. What's funny is I use it a lot of times to know when the last time I was on site, because I can tell right here, my iPhone and my Fluke, I've not been there in 5 months.
Okay. Interesting. Because Solar Winds, at least we have it set for 90 days to remove
To
workstations.
automatically remove
Yeah,
workstations. Yeah.
which is very annoying. I mean, you get charged for it, but it's annoying because so many of my clients work on jobs and they don't have a job for more than 3 months. They call me like, "Yeah, you're not on the dashboard anymore."
Yeah.
And what's worse is they're not admin users; they're restricted users. Now they're out in the field with a restricted user account and no dashboard agent. Oh
So,
God.
for instance, these are two desktops that turn off all the time. This is a doctor. And remember, I mentioned the wake on LAN. So I can just go down here, hit wake up now, and it'll turn on.
Well, that's nice.
So, and then again, I don't have to go out and create a text file with all the machine names and the MAC address and all that
And there's
stuff.
no agent on the computers you got to load. There's nothing.
Nope, nothing at all. I just basically throw this box in and it goes out and finds everything. I don't have to load an agent. I don't have to do squat.
Hmm. I may get one of those and play around with it. Of course,
I mean,
turn off
for,
alerting.
here's the thing. For some people, $19 a month is probably sounds expensive, but for my clients, for all the stuff it does, $19 a month, if it saves me a trip to turn on a workstation or to figure out what port a device is on,
Yeah. So you roll this into your service agreement, or do you charge them a separate fee for this?
So for some, I've rolled it into the agreement, but I add it as I'm basically working through line items where it might be a site fee, and I may have a site management fee where it's part of that. And for others, I just add it either if I just want to cover my cost or I charge. I think for one customer it's $185 is what I'm charging them for it.
I mean, a lot of these agreements that people roll stuff into, there should be something padded for some sort of administration or remote administration tools
Right.
that people should be using. So,
Right. And that's usually what I do it for the Domos. I do it for my system administrator software. So all the software that I load on the server to help me do stuff. And as you can see, the server, that station I just turned on, the status changed to it's on just now.
now I hope he's not at his office and all of a sudden his computer turned on.
No, this is a doctor. He was actually off today. This is actually the doctor that I sent the proposal to for the 17 Windows 10 upgrades.
Well, that looks pretty interesting.
Yep.
I may get one. I have a client that he'll just tell me to do it if I want it, and I'll let him go buy it. And so this is a portal. So if let's just say, well, I guess if he buys the device and I set up the portal, I pay the $19 per device per Domos box.
Right.
Okay. So interesting. Now I have a question. I don't know if you want to answer it or not. I did listen to another podcast which sounded pretty cool.
Roll. Oh, was it my podcast?
Yes, of course it
Oh.
was yours.
Oh, I was gonna say you kind of hesitated with it. It sounded pretty cool.
You're one of the only tech podcasts I listen to. I have a handful.
Okay.
Up level systems.
Up level systems, yes.
Their stuff sounds pretty cool.
They're
from
gonna
that
be back, by
podcast.
the way. They're gonna be back for another episode. They just signed up, I think, was it today? They're gonna be doing a live show on Friday, July 31st.
All right, I'm gonna have to Put them in my calendar. Okay, so their stuff sounds pretty cool. Have you implemented or used it?
So that's the reason they're coming back on the show, because they did give me a trial unit, and I actually had it for 6 months. There are things that I like and things that I didn't like.
Okay.
And I just had a follow-up meeting with her probably 2 weeks ago where we talked about all that, and we decided that it was safe enough for them to come back on. They're actually doing a firmware. I didn't hate it to the point where I'm like, don't ever bring that around here again. I like the idea. It's kind of, here's the thing. So their device is very similar to the Calyptic's firewall products, except that it added all these extra features for directory services. It has a NAS drive included. So if you needed to share, drives from the firewall, if it's a really small client and they don't want a server, but they have to share some files, well, your firewall can actually share some of those files out. You can do on-demand VPN. Their VPN setup was actually pretty nice and simple. So there are some good things about it for the right client. I don't see it for me.
Okay, so the directory services, I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
Directory services. So if I've had small clients that went from a domain-based environment to a peer-to-peer because they just were too small. They had they downsized and they had 3 computers and not much data. When you say directory services, using that, would I join a workstation as we think of it to a domain that the up-level systems is hosting? Like it's a
Yes.
domain controller?
Yes. But it's not full Active Directory. So I have to.
But if I looked at the computer, it would say join to a domain.
Yes.
And the user accounts would exist on the directory services of the up-level systems box.
Correct.
And can you do things like, I'm sure you can't do full group policy, but can you set drives to be mapped? And
yes, you can.
So basic kind of policies kind of thing?
It's I'll be honest, I did not see a place for policies.
But you can do drive
obviously,
mappings.
if you can do drive mappings, you can do some user settings. And you do that when you set up the box, and you can make changes. If you need to change a map drive later, you can do that. So there are a lot of those services that it will work great for. You don't have a server, but you want to map drives, and you don't want to have to do a script or a local batch file or something. The up-level firewall appliance will do that. There are some other stuff that it does as well. I just didn't get that deep into it during my evaluation.
So as far as the workstation concerned, it thinks that it's an Active Directory controller, domain controller.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes. And the other things, the big things that they do with it is, you can do your site-to-site VPNs. You can do individual VPNs. You're not purchasing licenses to do those VPN clients. The configurations are automatically backed up, and in fact, they're synced to the cloud.
Okay.
So if there was an issue with a device, they could literally pull down the configuration onto another device, ship it to you,
which is important because if it's your Active Directory controller,
yes,
you don't want to lose that.
Right.
Interesting. So I've had a couple of clients in the past 6 months that they went literally 2 or 3 computers, and they had servers, small business servers, because they were bigger in the past.
Right.
But they've downsized. So I've got another 2 or 3 that I'm thinking of that they're down to 2 or 3 computers that I'm wondering if this would be a fit for them. You say file sharing, you can do permissions and groups and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's not as granular as Active Directory or NTFS, but you can obviously give rights to some folders to some people, but not to others.
And I usually try and keep that at top level folders anyway.
Right.
I don't like drilling down and doing all kind of weird things in some folders. But yeah, I'm wondering, and is there a limit? How much storage is in this device? Could you
So the
attach?
devices, they come with 1 terabyte and 5 terabyte models.
Okay. And that data is backed up to the cloud also? Or how is that data backed up?
I don't have my notes here, but I believe that it is.
And I'm curious if that's an extra cost.
It is an extra cost. So a lot of the features are, and this is something that, oh, you know what? I have paperwork on this, but I haven't read it. So there's a couple of
6 months, huh? 6 months. Okay.
well, actually, I didn't get the pricing till after.
Okay.
I didn't even know. They gave me 6 months free, and I don't know if they do that for everybody, but I'm going to think I'm special.
I'm going to assume that I would get 6 months free as well. I'm going to call them and tell them that I heard
Sure.
6 months free on.
Well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you Robin's contact information. You're going to call her and tell her Uncle Marv from Podnuts Pro told you to call.
I'm going to say, you gave him 6 months, but surely you can give me 12.
So yeah, but there's a bunch of changes that they're going to do because they're actually going to. So they're a subscription based model. And I told her one of the problems that I was going to have with my clients. I have clients that they don't want to do anything subscription based when it comes to hardware. They may pay me monthly because I'm just, the service. But anything hardware, when it comes to like the Sonic walls or the Datto equipment, they want to purchase those things so that they're done with the hardware purchase.
Mm-hmm.
So UpLevel is coming up with an option where you can do an outright hardware purchase, or you can do the subscription model. So they're making that change. I think that they got a lot of.
But that's the purchase the box, right? I mean, if you want data backup, just like any cloud backup, it's still a subscription.
Right. All the services are still going to be monthly.
Some clients who don't want to subscribe to hardware, I get it. But at the same time, when they buy a car, they don't pay cash for it. I mean, a lot of them are paying monthly for they bought it, right? But they're still paying monthly.
Right. But the thing is they're not looking at these the same way they look at a car where, they want a nice car. They want to, they want to lease a $60,000 car over 6 years. They're looking at this as a $5,000. Well, at least for my customers. So my law firms, they always think in terms of, is it CapEx versus OpEx? And my attorneys, they want to buy stuff so they don't have to worry about, carrying over a lease payment every year and having their accountant deal with it. They'll just purchase it outright. But the services, they can use that as an OpEx, as an operational expense, because it's not something they have to spread out.
So the answer. I mean, give pricing. I don't know if UpLevel puts their pricing online. Is the box expensive? Is the box expensive?
Well, let me look. I can.
Well, I don't know if they want you to promote that, but I mean,
no. But here's the thing. I don't think. Here we go. So here is one. Okay, that's their monthly cost, which is actually not too bad. And if we do, they have a 1-year license. I don't know.
And if you don't pay for the license, the box stops working?
That is a good question. And I think the answer to that is yes.
So if you're using it for domain directory services and you don't pay, it just stops working. I mean, but the thing is, if they change their model, right, and you buy it, if you don't use any services like backup.
Here's the thing. Yeah, I think those additional services may stop, but the firewall itself may still work. I think Calyptix was that model too, where certain things will stop, but not everything. So It's not
like a reduced functionality.
yes.
Yeah, I'm curious what would stop working and what would keep working. But if they change to a purchase outright, I mean, there's got to be. They got to base that on this device lifespan is so long. If you paid me X amount of dollars per month, it'd be this much per year. This device has a lifespan of 5 years, so we're going to charge
36,
that much.
36 months was the number I remember her saying.
So they got to base any outright purchase.
Here we go. I have it. Purchase price. Less than Sonic Walls. No, I take that back. So they've got 3 models here that it looks like. One is sub 1,000. Actually, they're sub 2. Let's put it that way.
And this is the buyout, right?
Yes.
But this would not include any kind of cloud backup services.
Correct. So all of the other stuff is monthly. So for instance, things like, the load balancing, 1 terabyte. So they have the 1 terabyte backup subscription. You can purchase that either as a monthly subscription or they give you a 1, 3, or 5 year option. So it looks like they've done a bunch of changes here. There's a HIPAA business associate agreement that you can purchase.
Have you looked at their file restore process to see how easy it is to restore files?
No, I did not. But you know what? You can watch the live show on July 31st and put those questions in the chat.
I shall. Do you know what time? Do you know what time it's going to be? I'll put it in my calendar right now.
Lunchtime, 12 noon Eastern.
That's 11 o'clock Central.
So actually, I'm going to write some of these down here now that you asked. So file restore.
That's the 31st?
31st, Friday the 31st.
All right, live show. 11 o'clock Central.
What happens when it stops working, or when you stop purchasing the license?
It stops working. I'm guessing it just doesn't work.
Let's see what else is here. So, yep.
Yeah.
So,
what works? Yeah. What features do you get and what do you not get during the subscription period? So,
right.
Yeah, that's important. I'm curious. Yeah, I definitely will watch it because I do have some clients I think that this could work for.
Okay.
I do like the fact that it has directory services, so I don't have to manage accounts individually. But again, I would only do it for, to be honest, I'd probably do it less than 5 computers. I wouldn't consider. If 5 or more, I would do a server.
Right. And the other things with these boxes is, now I don't know if WatchGuard has models like this, but on the Sonic Wall NSA series where you can get, or the Pro series where you can get them with, 8, 16, or 24 switch ports. This, you can get these boxes. They have an 8-port, a 24-port, and a 48-port. So if you don't want to have a separate switch, you can have all of that in one as well.
So basically, okay, so like WatchGuard and I think Sonic Wall 2 is, they're separate. Like if you get a WatchGuard, a 4-port WatchGuard, they're not really switch ports, right? They're individual interfaces.
Correct, on the lower models, like the TZ series for Sonic Wall are individual switch ports. And you can actually tag them as WAN or LAN.
Right. And you could bridge them together. So these would be like actuals. One would be designated as a WAN, and the rest are all just switch ports.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, because the WatchGuard people think, oh, I'm just going to plug in the port 3. Well, no, port 3 is not configured. And even if it was configured, if I do a trusted network, let's say I bridge it, it's going to be a separate network.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was a thing, too, that So one of the things that I've always liked about Sonic Wall is that they don't come pre-configured, meaning they might come pre-configured with their one IP address, their management IP address, and then you can go in and designate port 2 to be WAN or LAN, and then 3, 4, 5, whatever. So I remember on the Calyptix box and the up-level box that I got, they were already configured with separate LANs, VLANs, or whatever. So they were already pre-configured, and that was something that I didn't like. In both of those, you actually had to connect to a cloud account. That was a thing that I mentioned to her as well, is that you had to have a cloud account, and you actually logged into the cloud account to configure the device. You didn't log into an IP address on the local device.
So these up-level things have access points too.
Yes. Yeah, they're rebranded. They're
They look like
rebranded.
Ubiquity. They look like Ubiquity access points.
Now they're another company. They're rebranded. It's an E. I forget which one it is.
It's an E.
Well, it starts with an E, like Equa something.
Interesting. Yeah, so I'm curious to listen to their thing. And it says, dual WAN load balancing. Okay.
Ingenious. They're ingenious access points.
Ingenious. Yeah. We used to use Ingenious.
Yep.
Used to. Used to.
Which was another thing. Let me write this down. I got all these things. I was supposed to actually call her. So the ingenious access points, the switch that they provided, now the one they provided me did not have power over Ethernet. So I couldn't just plug in the switch and have it automatically get up and work. You had to have the AC unit with it, unless you had a different PoE switch. And because of that, I actually never hooked up the wireless, so I didn't go through the steps to see if that could be configured, because the way I remember it is you can actually pre-configure the wireless access points in the dashboard as well, so that they can just be sent on site and plugged in by a customer.
They're overestimating the customer's ability, are they?
Just plug it in. I don't know.
Plug it in. Plug what in?
Where? Plug it in where? Oh my God. So a second customer I had to help today, setting up her Office 365. Don't you just love it when the first words out of their mouth is, I'm not really that tech savvy.
Yeah. I know. They love saying that.
And so as I remote in to her station and I start to go type something, the first thing that popped up on the screen is, your control key seems to be activated. And so I had to ask her, is there something on your keyboard? No. Well, I can't type until you take something off the control key. I don't know what you mean. Like, is there a book or anything laying on your keyboard? Oh, I had my elbow on it.
Oh, jeez. They put their elbow. Like,
You're not tech savvy. You're not human savvy either.
yeah, people tell me I'm not a computer person. Like, you are a person, right? I mean, I tell them all the time, well, that's okay. You don't need to be a computer person, because these things are written for normal people,
Right?
For computer people. So don't be scared. It's okay. It's written for you.
That's right. Those letters on the keyboard are not written in a special language.
I love it when people call me. I got an error message. What does it say? I don't know. I'm like, was it written in English? Yes. Can you read it? Oh, I guess so. Well, that would be helpful. Thank you. I don't know what it says. Like, is it written in a foreign language or hieroglyphics or something? And I said it was written in, it's in English, right? And they're like, well, yeah. I'm like, okay,
Can you read it to me?
I'm like, they don't know what it says. I'm like, okay, that to me sounds like it's popped it up in like Spanish or German, and they don't speak that language or read that language. But,
Is it in computer glyphics?
but when I'm like, I don't mean to be, you know, I don't mean to sound arrogant, but is it in English? Can you read it? Well, yeah, we'll read it. Of course, they don't stop reading. Like, okay, that's
Right.
enough, that's enough, that's enough.
Of course, yeah. But that's not all of it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't need to know the rest of it. I just need to know the main part, the main. And they said like, oh, X4839. Like, yeah. Stop, and they don't listen. They just keep on reading it.
So, in these times, we have to be a little bit more tolerant of people. But so one of the things I used to do is, well, is it written in computer code? And what's that mean? Ones and zeros. Tell me how many ones and zeros I need to know. Are you playing with me?
Yeah, these sometimes they just.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I mean,
Right.
and I tell them the same thing. Well, I'm not a can call my vehicle.
Can you drive?
I mean, I can't even change the oil, but I can drive the vehicle. I can operate the vehicle.
All right. So up-level systems. So beautiful.
Yeah, I'm curious. So they emailed you back to be on the show again?
Yeah, actually, when I talked to her last, Robin is her name. I told them, I said, look, you're welcome to come on the show anytime if you have an announcement or whatever. And I was actually working today, and she had the link to sign up for a show, and it popped up today at 12:37. She signed up for a show.
Interesting. Where are they based out of?
Oh, you had to ask.
Yeah, I did. I just looked it up. Oregon.
That's right. They're in Obando land.
Yep. Tigard, Orlando. Tigard? 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 Is that Tigard?
I don't know.
Tigard? Tigard?
Yeah, I think that's where they are. She's not there. She's actually in your time zone. So I forget where she is.
Well, they are right outside of Portland. That is in Obando land. They are right outside of Portland.
Mm.
She's in my time zone. My time zone is pretty big. It's central. It goes all the way up.
Yep.
Whole country.
I wish I remember where she was at. No. She could be anywhere from Chicago to.
Yeah. It's pretty big. Pretty big. I'm looking at their on their website success stories. I see this place is from Gulf Coast Computer Solutions. This place is from Strix, Louisiana.
Oh, do you know them?
I do not. I've never heard of them. Anyway, Team Logic IT. I know there's a Team.
Oh, look, Florida Networks.
They misspelled networks. They got an X in there.
I wonder where they are. They're in Tampa.
Look at that. That's your competition.
I'll be there in 2 weeks. There'll be Mike Smith's competition. That's where he is now.
Oh, that's right. You have a new neighbor now.
Yes.
A
Yeah,
neighbor,
new Florida man.
that's what, 4 hours away, probably.
Yes, it is.
Is that 4 hours away?
It's exactly 4 hours.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you're gonna be heading down there a lot. That's
So actually,
4 hours.
I do have a client visit I have to do. I have an upgrade on the 24th that I will be driving over to Lakeland, Florida. And then I will be driving from Lakeland over to the Clearwater area where he is. And then we will spend Saturday with him, stay the night somewhere in Tampa or St. Pete Saturday night. And then I have to do a client visit Sunday morning as we roll out of town.
Well, you can stay at his place, right? Come on.
We could, but I don't think.
You're saying we? It's not going to be just you.
Yeah, I'm taking the wife.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you probably get someplace fancy, some fancy hotel.
Yeah, whatever the cheapest Hilton we can find.
You know, when we visited you,
Yes.
and we stayed at that resort place. Where did I even stay?
Which one was? It wasn't the Margaritaville place. It was.
It was a place where the conference was a long time ago.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. That is a resort place.
Look, that place. I'm sorry, I did not like it.
You didn't like it?
It's a nice place. It's a nice place. I just don't like the whole vibe. The Diplomat.
Yeah, the Diplomat. Oh yeah.
I just don't like the whole vibe of the area. Everybody wants a tip for something.
That's how Florida makes their money. Everything is based on tourism. We don't have income tax here.
But you know what? I can carry my own bag. And look, let me tell you what. This hotel made me park across the street. Wouldn't even let me use the little carts that you put the luggage on.
Wait a minute. You're supposed to pull up. The Diplomat has the huge overhang where you can pull in and they valet your car.
Oh yeah, they valet it.
You wouldn't valet?
No.
So then you had to park across the street. That's your self parking.
You can't even pull up in that area to unload your own luggage. They're making you across the street. So if you pull into the valet, you got to pay for the valet.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to pay for them to get your bags and bring them up to your room. I'm perfectly capable of parking my own vehicle.
Yeah, but you're at the Diplomat where it's basically a resort place where half the people there are probably international unless they're there for a conference. Because that place can have like 3,000 conference attendees, I think. It's huge.
So we park across the street. We bring the bags, and the bags have wheels. It's not like it's difficult, right, to wheel the bags across the little overhead walkway thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the thing is, my older daughter got one of those little cart things, and she started putting the bags on them when I'm checking in. And they said, "Oh, those are for bellboy use only." They wouldn't even let you use the cart. And I said, okay, fine. Well, if I let y'all bring it up, how long will it take to get the bags to the room? Because we actually got in later than we thought, and we were going to go to your house to meet with y'all.
Okay, right.
So I didn't have a lot of time. And I said, well, how long will it take to get, if we let you do it, how long will it take the bags to get them? They said, oh, no more than an hour. I'm like, are you insane? An hour? I've got to leave in a half an hour. So I said to my daughter, take him off the damn cart. So we took him off the cart and we went to our room. So you tell me they wanted me to pay for a valet, pay to have my bags brought to my room, and take an hour to do it. I'm sorry. That just is not me. And then if I had the valet, how long does it take me to get in my car? I can go walk across the runway, the walkway, and get my car and drive off. I don't have to wait. The whole thing to me, I did not like. My younger daughter, she loved it. She loved all the service. In fact, remember I told you when we were at your house having dinner, I told them just get room service.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
You remember how much that cost me?
It was a couple $100 or something.
It was it was a hamburger and fries and chicken nuggets and fries, and that cost me over $75.
Yep.
I was like, "Oh my god!"
She probably could have door dashed it for less.
Because you have to first of all get the meal, then they charge a delivery fee up to your room, then they put a mandatory tip on it. I'm like, "Oh,
Gratuity. It
yeah."
was probably 18%, right?
It probably. I mean, the whole thing really for chicken nuggets and fries and hamburger and fries. I
And
had
there's a
drinks.
minimum. There's a minimum.
And I already had drinks. I had drinks in the fridge. It was like over $75.
Yep. So
So
next time, stay at Margaritaville, and you'll pay half price.
Margaritaville. So the thing is, I stayed here because the conference was here years ago.
Mm-hmm.
People raved about how nice the hotel was, and it was nice. It was a nice hotel.
Well, because it was free to conference attendees. Because remember, I don't know, you probably shuttled in.
I didn't go to that conference.
Oh, you didn't.
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's right. It was Dubinsky and Paco came down from the crew, and a couple of other Sean Scott. I brought some local techs in.
That conflicted with another trip I was already on, so I couldn't go.
That was the year. I think that was the year that the second unconvention?
Yes.
Was like the week before or week after. They were literally 2 weeks apart, and I almost didn't go to the unconvention.
And did I go? Where was that unconvention at?
So I have to remember which year it was.
That was the one in DC?
That was no. That would have been the Toronto one.
Okay, I didn't go to that one either. I didn't go to Toronto.
Then it had to be DC.
I thought the first one was in Toronto.
The first one was in Toronto. The second one was in DC.
I went to that one.
So it was probably the second one then.
Yeah, because y'all rented that house in DC.
Yes.
Yeah, and we went over there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I went to that. That's why I didn't go to the one.
Okay, then that's the year. So that would have been 17.
Yeah.
19,
So my younger daughter loves the Miami area. Loves it. She loves that kind of stuff because she's used to being waited on.
right.
I mean, if she wants a soda, I'm surprised she doesn't come in here and ask me, "Can you get me a soda?" You know.
you walked by the fridge.
Yeah, I wish you would have told me about the Margaritaville before because that does look nice. But we went to the beach, South Beach in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, so freaking hot.
The sand.
Everything. It was like I walked into an oven. We had just come from Key West, and we go to South Beach. It was like no breeze, stifling hot.
Yeah.
Walking around Miami, looking at shops, and go to the beach. It's unbearably hot. We thought we were going to die. There's no breeze. Why is there no breeze in that area?
Because of all the condos that are built up there, 70 stories high.
Oh, okay. So here's what they liked. The room that we had at the Diplomat, I got a suite. It was a big room.
Right.
Huge room. And a huge wraparound balcony. We were on half the damn building.
Oh.
They loved that balcony. They loved it. I mean, I could go from the beach side all the way around the building. It was because we were on an edge. So you could walk around the whole building almost on our balcony. They loved the balcony.
Okay. See, and I will never be able to stay at a place that has a wraparound balcony that took up half the floor, which is the difference between Uncle Marv money and Mr. Rainey money.
No, you could do it. You could easily do it. You
The
have
Diplomat.
Florida rate. Probably cost you $13 a night.
A Florida annual pass.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a nice room. I just didn't care for all the you can't do anything for yourself. We must do it for you. Take longer, and you must pay me extra.
Mhm.
I didn't like
18, 18% gratuity.
that. But the place was nice. And in fact, my younger daughter mentioned she made a comment about how I tease her all the time about this. I tease her all the time. She said when in 10 years, she goes, I will take you back and I will pay for it all.
Yeah.
It's in my calendar. It's in my calendar. I have it.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe that's true because she'll probably still be living with you, saving all that money.
It's in
She'll
my
probably be working, but not spending any money because she'll still be home. And daddy, can you get me this, daddy? Right?
yeah, it's in my calendar. And I remind her, I said, when we go back, I'm gonna get room service chicken nuggets. I'm gonna get this and that. She goes, what are you talking about? I said, you told me you were gonna take me. And Kim, my wife, Kim, she says, oh well, can I go? And, and my younger daughter goes, I can only afford to take that. I said, well, looks like it's just me and her. I said, sorry, but I'm gonna.
So you know where you have to go when you come down next time? The new Hard Rock.
Oh, that with the big guitar?
Yes, they finished it.
Oh yeah, that was being built while we were there. That have you been there?
No,
Well, you live right there. You're like you
I'm
live.
waiting for somebody to visit. We're not going to go on our own.
You're probably like 5 minutes from there, right?
It's about 15 minutes.
Yeah, that place looked pretty nice. From our wraparound balcony, we can see it lit up at night. You can see it from our balcony.
Yep.
It looked pretty cool. And we drove right next to it when we were driving around town looking at shops. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
you
thing.
can see it literally from I-95 or 575 or wherever you can. It is the biggest building in that area.
Yeah, and the kind of the guitar definitely
Yes.
sticks out. I mean,
And at night they light it up
yeah,
depending on what, time of year it is. They have different colors. Like for the 4th of July, they had it, red, white, and blue. And
I remember when we were there, it was lit up like some kind of purplish from our balcony.
yeah, that's usually, I think that's their standard Seminole colors.
Because the first night we were there, it wasn't lit up. But the second night we were there, we walked in the balcony. I was like, "Oh my god, it was so bright!" I was like, "You could easily see it." I was like, "Well, I
Yeah.
would live
I think
next
they
to
rotate between green and purple.
that." Mhm. Very nice, very nice. So CompTIA was supposed to be in your area this year,
I know that sucks. I was hoping to go and host everybody.
and my younger daughter, who loves the Miami area, was so excited because she likes that mall, that expensive
Which mall?
mall.
The Mall of Americas?
What's
Or
that?
no, Aventura Mall. That's the
Aventura. Yeah,
yes.
like all the upscale stores.
Yes.
She loves that mall, and knowing that the CompTIA was going to be pretty much right next to that mall,
Yep.
she was in heaven. She was thinking, "Oh my God, this is going to be the best trip ever." And then all this happened, and I say, "Sorry, we're not going." What do you mean we're not going? I said, "They canceled the whole thing." See that I was going to go to that because you were there, and I figured you were going to go to CompTIA and we can go down there, but that got canceled. So she was
Yep.
pretty upset about that. And next year it's in Austin.
Mm.
I mean, I like Austin, and so maybe I'll go, but it depends on who goes. I don't want to go to that kind of thing myself.
So I don't know. It depends on how we come out of COVID and what events come up. Because I know I was just talking to the Solar Winds people about their event because I usually go to those. I go to the ASCII events now. I was supposed to do a Cronus last year. That didn't happen.
Cronus was in Chicago.
There was one in Miami, and then there was one up there.
Okay. So, oh wait, no, this says, oh no.
What?
Now it's saying ChannelCon 2021 is going to be in Houston.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
hey, look, the 2020 is still going to be,
online.
it's a digital event.
Yeah, and it's free to sign up. So if anybody wants to go to that, it's you can sign up for free and attend all the sessions virtually.
There we go.
Yeah. So Houston, so that's only 3.5 hours from me. If people go to that, I would go to it too, I guess. I could easily drive to that.
I'm going through the list of online speakers. So Jay McBain, principal analyst for Forrester Research, he'll be on the show in a couple of weeks. I've got him on the podcast. Dave Sobel, our friend,
Oh yeah.
MSP Radio.
I did listen to some of those podcasts because I heard him on your podcast. You had him on a while back, right?
Yeah, I had him on I had him on twice. I had him on about 2 weeks before the first diversity podcast, and then he was on the diversity podcast.
Okay, I listened to the one. Well, I listened to both of those, but then I listened to some of his shows because I went to go search his stuff, and I listened to some of his stuff too. Yes, you've been busy podcaster over there. Do you have time to actually do any work? I was thinking when
Yeah,
I
I just
when I was listening to all these shows, I'm thinking, boy, is he just a podcaster now? Does he do any actually work?
it's not that bad.
I was like, I don't know how I don't even have time to listen to as many podcasts as he does.
I go home, eat dinner, come back and podcast. It's just for this month. It won't be that bad after that. It'll be back to normal soon.
So here's what I do: I leave work at 5, and I'm done for the day.
I go through periods of that.
Now I do have to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, so
Oh my, 8. I'm actually trying to get out the door by 8 to get down to the office. I got the commute.
get down to the office. Well, I do have to. It takes me at least 10 minutes to get up and get ready and leave. So if I get up at 8, I can be at the office by 8:15, 8:20, 8:20. Call it.
It takes me longer than that to feed the cats.
Yeah. See, I don't have to worry about any of that. I just get up, brush my teeth, get dressed, and go. And then I got 7 minutes to the office, and so I can get up at 8. It's no problem.
So I've got a sleep thing. I get up between 7 and 7:15, depending on how my sleep cycle goes. And then I get up, feed the cats, do a quick check on my dashboard, run out, get the paper.
Wait, the what?
The paper?
The paper?
Yes. Yeah, we get a daily paper. Do you know what the paper is?
I think I've seen that on TV shows. You actually get a daily paper still?
We do.
You like to get yesterday's news?
No, here's why. So we used to get just the Sunday edition for coupons.
Wait, for what? I'm sorry. Whoa. For what?
Coupons.
Is that really how you say that word?
So Ron White said that one time on a comedy show. And apparently he says that's the way it's supposed to be said, is coupons. So
I don't think so.
So we would get them for the coupons and just on Sunday. Well, one of our cats is troubled and has issues. And about 2 years after we moved into this house, decided he didn't need to use the litter box anymore.
It's a good life decision.
So we have to lay down newspaper over a pee pad for him.
I see. So you have
And it
your
has to be
pee
paper.
pad. So you have your pee pad delivered every morning.
We have pee pads from Amazon that are on a monthly subscription. And then I get the paper every day. So we have newspaper because it has to be newspaper. He literally goes looking for newspaper. So he was one of the cats we got from the Humane Society, and their litter box was paper when they went through a period where they weren't getting enough donations. So as a kitten, his litter box was shredded paper.
Hmm.
And so when we got him there, it took us a couple of months to get him litter box trained. And when we had all three cats, they were fine. But for some reason, he's now, I think he's 11 years old. And so he's getting into that. I think he's going to be nuts soon. He just all of a sudden just decided he's back to peeing on paper. And he's a cat. Literally, here's how bad it is. So at the home office, if I go into my home office and I'm sitting at the desk, I literally have to lay out paper. So the two cats we have now, they'll come and lay on paper to be next to me in the office.
Interesting.
And
Do you,
then
do you
he
read the
goes,
paper?
so I'll read the first page just to see what the headlines are. The wife reads some of the papers. We usually read the first page for the national news, and then we go to the second section to read what the local news is. And that's it. Other than that, it's for the cats.
I see. I see. Do you ever find anything new on the newspapers that you didn't already see online?
Sometimes.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting.
Sometimes.
Speaking of local news,
Yes.
I get a call from the wife today,
I was going to say from the news station.
this afternoon, that she almost got ran over and run into by some guy being chased by cops on the road.
What?
Yeah. She's taking the girls to dancing, and some guy almost ran into her, running from the cops. And the cops, he blew by her, almost hit her. Then the whole swerved in and out of the road, and then the cops blew by her. Yeah.
So did you turn on the news to see?
I looked online, and there was nothing. I still haven't seen anything about it in the news.
So you know what you do for that? You get the
Check the
police.
newspaper.
No, you get the police scanner app on your phone.
Uh,
We do that all the time. I did that a couple weeks ago. There is one of those Grand Prix raceways and game stops about 3 or 4 blocks from us. And right before Florida, got famous as the center of coronavirus, one of the events was a Saturday night. There was like 1,000 kids at this raceway. And so there were probably, I don't know, 50 cop cars blocking off streets. And so cars were coming through our neighborhood because they couldn't get through to the interstate and to all the stuff. There was a helicopter overhead, and everybody, of course, on the Nextdoor app started like, what's up? What's up? So I pull up the police scanner to find out that that's what had happened. And that's how I keep track of the local news.
So how are you coping with the cancellation of live PD?
I am conflicted because I understand the basic reason they're doing it, although part of the lure of live PD was that it was showing the majority of cops in a good light, doing a good job. Now, it did show some idiots, both on the blue side and on the criminal side. However, when I found out that somebody did die in police custody and A&E Networks participated in destroying video, that pissed me off.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. That for sure. Mm-hmm.
So I love the show. I love what the original intent was. I love what they did. I like the interaction of people. Of course, there were some people that, when bad things did happen, they were still screaming, see. But I think they were trying. But when you do the same thing that we are always having issues with. And in fact, I mean, literally destroying video of that, you know, there should have been a lot more punishment for A&E.
They should. Now, I have a question though. I never watched the show. I pretty much the only time I watched it was that few minutes when you had it on at your house. that's pretty much all I've watched of that show. But is it customary for them to delete unused video, or was it uncommon for them to delete that video?
So there's been conflicting reports because some of it was, yes, if video did not make it to the editing room, because here's the thing, there was times when cameras were filming all week. So it wasn't just that they were live Friday and Saturday nights. They were filming all week long. So there's tons of footage that never made it to air, and I'm sure got destroyed. But the accusation is that they intentionally destroyed this information knowing that it should have been kept.
Okay, so so the accusation is they knew what they had, and they knew it should have been kept as proof of
Right. It was, I think the decision was, we're not going to air this. And it got lumped into the pile of footage that gets deleted because it doesn't get on air. But something that significant, they should have made efforts to keep it.
Turns it over to some authority.
Right. Yes.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know how incriminating the evidence was, because I don't think that the person died like while they were filming. I think it was somebody that died later as a result of other stuff. But, you know, the insinuation is that there were things that were done during this stop and during the police custody that was filmed that could have attributed to the person dying later. And that's the problem. And it's the same thing. Now, we don't get into the diversity podcast that I'm doing on the tech side, but I'm doing a whole series of personal discussions too, which you're not going to ever see or have turned into a podcast. So we did the first one last night. I'm doing another one tomorrow, and I've got 2 next week, and then we'll see how far they go. We are talking about things like that. And
so that will not be released anywhere.
That will not be released. It's a way that people can have private discussions where they are not public. They are not broadcast as the people, you know, either asking the questions or being part of the discussion. A lot of it is so that people can ask me questions. And there is the person that I'm co-hosting those with she is somebody who has said she is going to devote the rest of her life to trying to make a difference as a white person. And a lot of these discussions are going to be, hey, what can we do? Even just us, you know?
So is this something that people can become involved in, or is just like a private group?
So yes. So I've tried not to promote this. I did put it up once on my personal Facebook page, and then I've put it up on another page that I host that is Uncle Marv. And I don't know if you know this, but I have yet another podcast that I do called the Uncle Marv Podcast.
Well, you're just a podcasting fool over here, huh?
Yep. So if you go to unclemarv.com, you'll see that podcast that I do there. But on the Facebook page of that is where I put up the place where people can sign up if they want to attend one of those discussions.
Okay. unclemarv.com.
Yeah, I know I shouldn't have said that.
Well, I mean, if you want people to be, you can always edit this out, I guess. But I guess if people want to become involved and
well, unclemarv.com, it's a personal podcast basically for me and my friends and family. Now,
is there a website for it?
unclemarv.com. How hard is that?
Okay, so I'm gonna be. We've been doing this for almost 3 hours, and I've been drinking bourbon for almost 3 hours. So I'm having trouble spelling uncle. Yeah, I keep typing unclue. Okay, you said
Would you
bring.
like me to send it to you in the chat? Here, let me put
I
it
think
in.
I think I got it. You said that those gonna be adult beverages, so
Yes.
okay. So I got you here. You know, nice little red shirt with a black tie.
Yes.
Okay, I have to check this out. I put this on a thing here. So uh, when I see come to the podcast with adult beverages, I came with my adult beverages.
And yes, we did. I had mine.
You didn't even drink that thing.
I'm still drinking.
I've been
Listen,
drinking.
I have controls that
I've been drinking different things from all these bottles.
yeah, but I have controls I have to manage here.
I see. All right. I've had some Weller. I've had some
And
Blanc.
I have to drive home, by the way.
Oh, did you really drive?
Yes.
You could walk.
There was the threat of rain. Of course I drove.
Threat of rain. Well, you could if you had to. You could walk home.
If I had to, I could walk home, yes.
So, and then you could just walk back tomorrow morning, and those 3 minutes. You know, is it even 3 minutes? It's probably more like
I
2
don't know,
minutes.
but I would need a towel to wipe myself because I would sweat.
Is it hot and humid over there?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I can tell you, it was miserably hot over there when we were there.
As a matter of fact, it's still hot now, I can tell you. It's 81 degrees with a real feel of 89 degrees.
Must be miserable. I have one quick question. Also, you are still a member of ASCII group?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And you say they have conferences, or they have?
So they have, throughout the year, they usually do 9 success summits. And they're basically mini 2-day conferences that would be just like a CompTIA, except that most of the speakers are in one big room. So it's basically TechCon Unplugged on steroids, because they've got, I don't know, 500 people in a room. And each of the speakers will go there, but they do have a vendor booth area. And
You think those are worth going to?
yeah. And for the most part, if you're an ASCII member, they're free. You just have to pay to get there. Although I think they do have a voucher system. If you drive, I think they give you a credit or something. I don't. But it's not expensive to go to those. And they're throughout the country. It's usually most of the show is the same. So most of the vendors, it's like a circuit. So, the years that Bradley Gross went, he went to like 8 of the 9 conferences, and he'll do the same deal at each one. So you don't have to go to all of them. You can go to one and basically get what's on tap for the year. But I do know people that go to multiple events.
So I was a member of ASCII group for a while. I did not renew, mainly because unless they've expanded their benefits, the tech data discounts you get and the distribution discounts you get, we do enough volume that we
You
were
were already,
we
yeah,
were
you
already
were all,
past what that discount was.
yeah.
We didn't need it for the insurance. We didn't need it for the tech data or Synex discounts. So I mean, I'm only one of 3 partners. They didn't want to pay for it. We didn't use any of the benefits for it. Now I know Bradley Gross has a discount for members,
Right.
all that. But for me, I mean, we didn't really use.
Yeah, you have to use, for instance, so the tech data discounts, the well, I should say distributor discounts. So Tech Data, D&H, Synnex, Ingram Micro, I get all of those. We also initially got our health insurance through ASCII. So we did get a little savings there. My SolarWinds discount, I think, came through ASCII.
And see, our SolarWinds discount was more what we already have than through ASCII because of the volume.
Right. There was some other stuff, and they've got more vendors that have come on board. So if you do some of the other stuff, there's other discounts available. You just go to their vendor page and see which ones.
Well, they just sent me an email saying, "Hey, we know you were a member before. Here's our benefits."
Mhm.
So I was looking through them. That's where I saw Bradley Gross is a discount there, but I really don't know what I would get because we already have insurance. We already beat the discounts for Synnex and Tech Data and other things, UPS because of volume. So
Yeah.
I could definitely see how it'd be worth it for somebody smaller, but
And you don't ever have to contract with technicians in other cities, do you?
no.
Because that's another benefit that I do where, if I really can't get to a location, or, I've had customers that have moved out of state or whatever, I can contact ASCII and they'll find members in that area.
Oh, really?
Will do the workforce. Yeah.
We don't really do that. We have customers all over Texas. We're in Louisiana. We have customers all over Texas, which we just go to. I mean, look, I went to Grand Cayman. I've been to Florida, Texas, Grand Cayman. But normally, once we get them set up, they're minimal. There are almost no requirements on site.
Yeah, and that's the same with me. I mean, I probably once or twice a year have to find somebody in a remote area. Having said that, I probably haven't used anybody in over a year.
So, but I could still not being a member of the ASCII group. I could still go to the ASCII, what do you call them?
Success summits.
I could still go to them, right? But I
Yes,
have to pay for them.
you may have to pay. Yes, but I'm sure that they can get you a.
If I tell them I want to join, and they say, "Oh, never mind." All right. So you go to those things?
So I have been to the last 3 years. I've been to at least one.
Okay. And are they near you?
Sometimes they are. Yes, there was one in Bonaventure, which is about 20 minutes from me, 25 minutes from me. A couple of years ago. They have them in Miami all the time. I just don't like to drive to Miami.
What? Okay. So, but you're not. There's one coming up pretty soon, apparently. This says Summit Cities: Long Beach, Houston, DC, Chicago, Cincinnati, Toronto, Atlantic City, Boston, and Orlando.
Yep, the Orlando one I was going to go to.
What do you know when that is?
I do not, because I think they technically canceled this year.
Orlando, October 21st to the 22nd. Houston, Texas, December 2nd to 3rd. Cincinnati, November 17th and 18th.
Why'd you get so excited about Cincinnati?
Oh, because that's right by a bunch of distilleries. If I can go to right an hour south is a bunch of distilleries. Chicago, October 7th and 8th. I really like Chicago. I love Chicago. Okay, so if you go to one of these, you need to let me know because maybe I'll go to them too.
Okay.
And in fact, we should. I don't know. Is it when you go to these things? Do you meet? Are there other people who are in the community that show up to these?
Yeah, there's a few. There's a few guys that I meet with. There's usually a day that I'm doing those man on the street interviews. So I usually do that for at least half a day, if not a full day. But yeah, there is, I wouldn't say there's a lot. So out of the people that listen to this podcast, I would say on average, there's probably about 5 that will attend those events. It's not like the year we went to Chicago where there was, 30 of us.
Yeah. That was a CompTIA thing too.
Yeah. But there's enough. And it'll probably be more because I've met more people now. So I can actually go and see people that necessarily aren't a part of, Pod Nuts community, but that I've spoken with because of ASCII events, or we've worked together on projects, or they've been on the podcast. So there's a few more.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you're going to these, let me know. It'd be nice to put the word out to other people too if they wanted to go. Because I would like to go check one out. I've never been to an ASCII event.
Yeah.
I would go. I mean, you think you would go to Orlando is more likely
Yes.
what you want to go to?
So yes, Orlando. Let's see. The last one I went to was actually in DC. So I went to the Washington DC one. I think the one of them is going to be in Atlanta. So I was going to go to the Atlanta and the Orlando. Those were the 2 that I was planning on this year.
Atlanta. There's no Atlanta coming up.
Well, it must have been
last year.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah. Atlanta is hot as can. Atlanta is almost as hot as Miami.
No, it's not.
Oh my God. I've been to Atlanta quite a few times and it's always hot over there. And I'm in South Louisiana and I find
Come on. There's not a song like Party in the City where the heat is on. Welcome to Miami.
but you have to fly to Atlanta. If you're flying, you might as well fly to Houston.
I don't know how you have that reasoning.
Well, because that's a major hub too. If you're flying from Fort Lauderdale to Houston, it's the same price as flying from Fort
So
Lauderdale.
I fly to locations kind of the same way you do. Who's there that I know? Because I always will have to do a side event with a friend or a group of friends. In Atlanta, I have a group of friends in Atlanta that we have been trying to plan an evening out. There's probably 15 people in Atlanta that I need to see.
These are personal friends, not
Personal friends, yes.
all right. Well,
Houston, there's probably 2.
If you go to Houston, though, I'll go to Houston.
Well, if there is a Houston one, we'll see.
So now there's 3. Because I can hang out with you and the 2 other people too.
Right.
December 2nd and 3rd. And you know what? I'm not doing anything December 2nd.
Oh, I probably can't do it then because one of those. So either the first or second week in December is the wife's family reunion.
December 2nd and 3rd is a Wednesday and a Thursday.
So I can't go.
What?
Because I'll probably have to fly into the reunion that Friday and be there that week.
Where's the reunion?
It's outside of Atlanta, but I can't count that as the opportunity to see those other 15 people. So,
but no, this is in Houston. So you fly into Houston on the 1st, and then you fly out on the 3rd and just go to Houston. I mean, go to Atlanta.
Do you remember at the beginning of tonight when I talked about my limit of travel is 5 days?
Well, the reunion is going to be on the what day?
The reunion next year?
Was into this year.
Okay. Oh, that's the family Christmas. So that's a whole weekend.
Christmas is not until the end of the month?
But they do it at the beginning of December.
That's closer to Thanksgiving.
I know. It's a whole story. It's a whole nother podcast. And
this is December 2nd and 3rd. So you can fly from Houston to Atlanta.
No.
Okay. All right.
No, it's gonna extend it past my 5-day limit.
A 5-day limit. I have no limit. I can be somewhere for a month. Okay, so next year, if you go to any future ASCII events, let me know because I would like to go to one.
All right. We will do that. And with that, speaking of limits,
Yeah, because this has
it,
been 3 hours.
it has passed midnight for me.
This is gonna be like 3 shows.
People on YouTube are going to be like, how long is this thing?
Nobody's still watching. You should do a giveaway if
We
anybody.
do have somebody watching. I just don't know who. Somebody's watching.
Oh, we do.
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
I don't know who it is.
You really don't know who it is.
I don't. It doesn't give the name.
Well, they should
here's-
comment. They should comment in the comments.
Here's what we can do. If you are the person watching live, and there's only one way to know that, please type something in the comments box, and I will. You want to give them something?
Oh, it's
Cristobal.
What's going on, man?
So I will. Let me see what I have to give. It'll either be an Amazon gift card or I'll pull something out of the. What networking gear do you need there, Cristobal? Let's see what I have in the stack here. It's like a 20-second delay, by the way, so that's why he's not typing as fast as we talk.
So the last time we saw him, we saw him, of course, at the last TechCon Unplugged. He was there. Yeah,
Yes,
he hung out with yeah, he's a good guy.
Yep, I should see him more because he's less than an hour from me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He is in Florida. That's right.
Yep, he's up.
California, but he's in Florida.
He's west of West Palm.
Okay. All right. Cool, man. Goodness.
And
Chris, glad to see you here, Chris.
And we will do a show, Chris, once I get through this period of excess, as Mr. Rainey says. My podcasting marathon.
Our shows tend to go a little long.
Yes. Yeah, and which by the way, I lost a bet with the wife because I
Tell her you were working.
I told her I was going to find a way to keep you under 2 hours.
Tell her a server issue came up and you had to do it. You had to fix it.
No, trust me. She'll be on the Facebook tomorrow looking for this in the feed.
Has she been feeling okay? I mean, I know she has some issues. She's doing okay?
She is doing better.
That's good.
Although, let's see, what can I say? So she had a doctor's visit yesterday. And there is, let's just say that she is not 100% better. She is probably 95% better. But there are some things that we are going to have to monitor, and she has to go back for testing at least 2 more times.
Mm-hmm.
And it is something that is not necessarily life-threatening, but it is a condition that she may possibly be living with the rest of her life. So that's probably about as much as I can say.
I see. Hey, Chris, I don't know how to comment on this thing, but hey, I'm glad you're listening. He says he commented, he's love you guys shows the most. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know how to chat. I have no where to type.
You probably don't. I probably didn't give you permission. I know. I'm sure that I don't know. I'll have to pay attention to this thing. So there, I can at least post it so you can.
Oh, so I see a little F. So he's listening through Facebook.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I could probably go to the Facebook thing and post. But anyway, I'm glad you're listening.
Yes. So yes. Yeah. You probably didn't even pay attention. We're being streamed both on YouTube and the Facebook.
Oh God. Okay.
It's a simulcast.
All right. Simulcast. Anyway, I like hanging out with Chris. He's a good guy. I like hanging out with the TechCon Unplugged.
Yeah. All right. Well, we need to end this off because I do need to try to go get some sleep before I show up at work back here at 8:15ish this morning.
I know I gotta get up in almost 9 hours.
So, all right, my friend, we've got to do this more often. We can't. We let stuff build up, and that's why the shows are always so
But
long.
you're always so busy with your. You have
You're
shows.
always on vacation. You've had what? You've had a month of vacation since the start of this year, have you not?
No comment. I have no vacation scheduled for the rest of the year. I had vacation scheduled, but they all got canceled because of COVID. I was going to be off another 2 weeks, but now I'm not. So,
all right,
no more vacation scheduled this year.
All right. Well, I will be back in touch with you again soon.
All right, sir.
Especially if the Houston thing is when in October.
Houston thing was in the. You can't go. You said Houston thing was in.
Oh, that's December
3rd.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I won't call you for that.
Yeah. Well, we'll look at 2021.
2021, but we'll talk before then. Especially, you're going to listen to the July 31st live show.
Yeah, I put it in my calendar already.
All right. I'll probably have you back on sometime after that, and you can ask me questions that don't get answered on the show.
Yeah, I ask the hard questions.
Yes.
When marketing doesn't want you to know.
Yeah, whatever. All right, folks. Cristobal, thank you for staying with us. Oh, we just had somebody else join after midnight. So they're probably like, they're still here.
They probably clicked on thinking there's no way they're still live.
All right. Well, folks, thank you very much for watching and or listening to this episode of Podnets Pro. You have experienced Late Night with Matt Rainey. And we'll be back again soon. I will be back for sure with more episodes of Podnuts Pro. We have, I think we've got several coming up here. I've got a release of, well, if you're listening to this, you would have already heard the SolarWinds podcast that I did. It hasn't been posted yet. So that's going to be out. I've got Forrester Research that is going to be on. I just mentioned Robin with Up Level Systems will be on, and a couple of other shows that I do not want to jinx, but obviously we thank you very much for participating. If you have any comments or suggestions or questions, please email marvin@podnuts.com, especially if you do have show suggestions or things that you'd like me to either talk about or vendors you'd like to get on to do some of these live demos that can help us do our work. And if you would like to support the show, head over to podnuts.com, look at the show notes for each show, and either click on the Amazon show link. I am going to get back to having some product demonstrations in here, and I can have links to Amazon on there. You click on the Amazon link and make a purchase. Price is the same to you, but we get a little bit of kickback to help pay for the streaming and equipment used to produce this lovely podcast. That's going to do it for my promo section there. Any last thoughts, Matt, before we hang up?
Does anyone out there think that it costs more to click on the Amazon link? I'm just curious.
You know what the problem is? I found out that everybody doesn't remember to go look for the show link. And I always have to remind people, make it a shortcut or a bookmark or a favorite in your browser and just click on that instead of typing in Amazon.com.
I agree. But does anyone at this point think that it costs more?
Listen, I could have a brand new listener to the show. This person that just joined us after midnight might be a brand new listener.
Okay. I agree. Okay.
You never know.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We are going to bid you good night or good morning whenever you listen to this show. And until next time, holla.